Let's see. Let's see. Let's hope. So last stream Twitch also did this. I think near the end of this stream, Twitch also turned on me, let's say. But I'm not sure if it's Twitch or if it's the connection between the software I'm using and Twitch, or I don't know. But recently I had a couple of stream disconnects where it has absolutely nothing to do with my internet. Like, my internet's fine. Oh, hello there, Yakago. Welcome. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Wait, let me get this. Let me get the overlay back up. So before we were rudely interrupted, I was like, I was kind of being not as perplexed as I thought I would be by Shin Jinseo versus Ichiriki. So I figured that these guys would be a little bit too good for me, but they are not somehow, so far. I mean, they will be, but not yet. Okay, now it works. Good. Yeah, so this is how far we'd gotten. And so far, you know, the only thing I want to remark is that this Joseki, or variations thereof, so after you have a corner enclosure, someone approaches and someone tenugis, we've had two variations of the same Joseki, and in both of them, it's quite interesting. Oh, good morning. What do you mean good morning, Siku? It's 4 p.m. It's 5 p.m. for you. I mean, good morning all the same. Good morning all the same, I guess. Even if it's afternoon, it's still a good morning, but yeah. Welcome back. So, I was just remarking on how the dynamics of the Joseki change as soon as you edit a couple of moves. It's morning somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. So the point is, I think Siku is Finnish. So morning is a state of mind. Yeah. Wait, Siku wasn't? Aren't the last Nordic Godojo game that I saw from Siku? He died with this huge group, so I guess he was mourning. So you know. So if we go to this group, you know, usually you would consider this a very strong wall. Oh, not that. So you'd consider this a very strong wall, usually. But notice that in this Joseki, it's already a little bit harder for black. It's a little bit harder for black to get more Sente moves against white's group because we've already done A for B. So black's Sente moves are done. Like, there's no more of them. I was highly surprised I didn't tilt from that loss. Oh, congratulations. Yeah, not tilting is the first step to improving. Not the first one, but it's a very important one. I've never heard anyone say good morning. Yes, I don't think it would be appropriate, even though I just said it. So anyway, so it's interesting how I would usually be contrary to playing C7. Like, this move, C, is way too close to a wall, right? But somehow, I don't know, this is a little bit over-aggressive to me. You wouldn't do this. You got a corner for a wall. You don't attack the wall afterwards. But, you know, C7 should be too close. Wall, you say, weak group, question mark. Yeah, so some people think like that, and I think those people are wrong. I would like to interpret... Oh, and by the way, hello there, Royal Jelly. Welcome back to the stream. So, what I would say is that C7 isn't exactly attacking a wall. It's making it so that eventually this wall will become weak. Let's put it that way. You know, like, it's not attacking yet. I mean, C7's weaker than this wall. But the way that, you know, I think top players like to play is that they're always pushing it a little bit over the edge. So they're always being a little bit more assertive than perhaps they objectively should be. And then you're going to crack under pressure. That's how it feels often. That's the sensation I get from replaying the game. So the C7 is this type of move. Can you show what the move order was on the bottom right? Yes, I'm happy to. Wait. So black came at N2, which is, you know, I mean, this kind of prompted me at the beginning of the stream to do a long monologue on the analysis I've done for myself on playing O3, N4, and then Tanuki, and then, you know, N3, and what the life and death status of this is after Black Tanukis, and etc, etc, etc. But anyway, so Black played N2, and then eventually Black pincered, after which White played P8. Which I think is a direct consequence of the fact that Black played the Keima instead of N3. If White plays N3, like B, then White has more center moves. Like, this White has no center moves, so the group's a little bit weaker. So that's my guess. And then Black peeped here because it's annoying. And the point is that now, you know, Black has created a cutting point where there wasn't before, which Black can use later. It's not an important cutting point, but I'd say that the exchange is meant to annoy. And then we get this bizarre position in Black Tanukis. So, hello there, Alvedigus. Suppose N3 had been on the board instead of N2. Would you want to change R8 to something else? Yes. So, R8, yes, also. So, what we're asking here is, so Yakago's question is pretty good. If the stone were here, would we have played R8? And I think the answer is no. So, were the stone to be here, I wouldn't play so close, because White has more center moves, so you're getting closer to a wall. So I think it would be a little bit more reasonable for Black to play further. Like, you could still play R8, but I think that theoretically you're much more likely to play a little bit further from the wall rather than closer to it. Because N3 gets you more of a presence on the lower side, but it also gives your opponent's group more center moves. Now, you could still play here and it's perfectly fine, but I'm saying it's less likely you will. So, okay. Game review. Game review, yeah, this stream has a little bit of a fixed schedule where I wanted to analyze some pro games. And then maybe some other games also, but I don't know about that yet. So some of the channel point options aren't really available. They will be next week. So anyway, so we get to this position, and then Black turns, which is fine. I mean, this is a little bit... Black's reacting to D9 in a way. And then this feels like... This feels actually like N15. Okay, this isn't the move. I'm guessing the move, but yeah, it wasn't the move. So, one of the nice things about pushing G3 for H4 instead of pushing, like, instead of Tanuking directly, right? Tanuki directly is the move I espouse, but, you know, if you push at A first, the advantage is that after Black turns, your group is already locally alive. In this variation, as I was talking about before, you'd have to make this exchange to make life in Sente, but this exchange hurts your left side as well. So, the turn feels scared. Yeah, I don't think I would play it either. It does feel scared. On the other hand, it's a very big move, right? Like, conventionally, this type of turn is very, very valuable. So, you know, I can already envision that at some point when Black cuts here, Black stones are actually working to create something on the lower side. So, you know, it can't be a bad move. It can't be. It's okay. This type of turn is always a very big point to consider. Especially when, you know, if White were already connected and alive on the left side, this move would be less urgent because you don't have any endgame follow-up. When Black plays this in the game, like, later you're gonna play here, and... I mean, wait, can I answer here? I've forgotten. It's been so long since I played this push that I've forgotten what the dynamics are. So... here... I mean, in this case... In this type of situation, black lives in the corner, which is probably okay for him. So, you know, it's maybe even something like this, where black gains a lot of extra stuff in the endgame. And I think that affects what you would consider to be the value of h3. Q4 possibility helps the meaning. Yeah, Q4 possibility also helps the meaning. But okay. Oh, and we play f13. F13's a cool move. To me, the feeling is actually to play n15. Because I'm already, like, daydreaming about the beautiful coordination between these stones or something. But, I mean... This move seems okay. Usually, you won't see f13 from most professionals, but white already has these two stones that are helping on the left side, so it makes more sense. You know, it makes more sense to use the stones for something rather than to let yourself be laid low on the side of the board and become over-concentrated. Like, you already have stones on the side of the board, better use them instead of adding more. White feels unnatural somehow. In this position, white feels unnatural. Huh. This is okay for me. I don't think that white's doing badly at all. I somewhat like, for example, that now that black got really strong on the lower side, the two marked stones are kind of working against that. And, you know, black's a little bit limited. So, you know, h3, even though I agree it's a good move, it never feels super good to play on the side where you've already played n2. So, yeah, it's... I don't know. I'm not sure which player I would favor. I do like black because of the peep at p6. The peep at p6 really annoys white. So I'm going to say that that is a plus. Okay, so... And what does black play now? Does black make a group? I don't even know what the professional consensus is against f13. Do you make a group? Do you just ignore it? Let's find out. Oh, we cut q4, and oh, we cut p5. Okay. This is interesting because I don't think my priority on this cut was as big as to play it immediately. And the main reason for that isn't because the cut is good or because it isn't good, it's because I don't see how white fixes it. If the peep annoys white, are you saying that p8 was a mistake? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I think... I'm not sure if you were here, Siku, at the beginning of the stream when I mentioned that p8 surprised me. p8 isn't the move I would have played. And, you know, when I saw p6, I thought I'm not a fan, but probably it's fine. Yeah, you weren't there, okay. So, I'm not going to call it a mistake, because especially at this stage of the Fuseki, the players have certainly prepared this. Like, not that they've prepared the entire game, we're not playing chess or something, but it's not the first time Ichiriki plays p8, and he has surely had, like, I'm sure he has experience with it, I'm sure that he knows that p6 exists. So, I'm going to say I'm not comfortable with it, with being peeped here, but I don't think p8's a mistake, let's say. You know, black's favorable local result does come out of, you know, black defending q10 and white getting to Tenuki. So, okay. But we do cut here. Yeah, r7's natural, because if you don't play r7, then black's going to play r7. And then you're not going to have anything. So, like, just sample variation. I mean, what else do you do? Let's say you pull out the stones. Then, I mean, here... Wait, can white play this move? Wait, we ran into a really funny Sumego here. So if white connects, then this stone is silly, and black plays here and white has two weak groups, so that's good for white. But what if white's like, you're enclosed? And then this, and then black plays here, and then of course if white gets to Hane both of these, then white wins the race. But I'm just wondering, is this one of those like weird ones where black can play the double sente move, like the double first line thing and kill you? Probably not, probably. Like, probably black's in trouble here. Probably. Like, if... I'm not sure how many of you know this. In this type of situation where all of this is happening, and white has... this just works for black. White's dead. After white q6, black o7, check white's cover at n8. White's cover at n8. Wait, you're saying that black's gonna, like, actually die here? No. No, you're saying... okay, you're saying it's a good position for white, still. Not with all. Not with anything, I think. Like, this is still a good move. This is a really good move. But black's not dying with anything, I think. So we play here. Depends on what black plays, okay. White should hane, probably. And... so the idea, I mean, if black plays p7 is the question white needs to ask. White doesn't really need to ask it yet. You could have asked it by now, but you also could have not asked it. So, like this. And now black's gonna play probably this move. But actually, like this, now you're in a little bit of trouble. You have to start with the hane, don't you? Yeah, you have to start with the hane. But this type of situation is really weird for the shape. I guess we play this one. And black's shape is bizarre, but black has a lot of cash. Like, the lower side's dying. The shape looks terrible, but, you know, you're gonna kill the lower side here. So... is this, like, okay? Feels bad for both, lol. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, thanks, Yakago, for bringing it up, because it's actually not... it's not clear. I'm not sure what to say. This is... yeah. This looks like a Korean joseki. I'm guessing white's better. I'm guessing. Because in the end, white can do a lot to reduce. The reason black doesn't want to Atari is that once you Atari, you're sort of just helping white to get a stone out, and then maybe this, and maybe white will Tanuki, maybe to the right side. So probably you want to play here so that you got Sente. But you're leaving such a big hole. Does black have to Atari? That's a little bit annoying, having to Atari. It's not the shape, usually. Okay, so we do this, and then white Tanukis. I got it from AI, of course, but let's keep it hidden what the evaluation is. I see. Thanks. Wow, it's interesting, like, that you have AI open for my stream. I mean, I guess it helps to keep me accountable, and gives a, you know, second opinion. So thanks for that. So... often when I review pro games, I check them afterwards with AI, so probably off-stream I would do that. If I tried it on-stream, my computer would crash. So, you know. I'll definitely check this sequence afterwards, it's very interesting. My guess is that white's better, but my guess is also that this is fine for both. So... okay. So... then, you know, maybe black doesn't play this move yet, we just play here anyway. Do you have a link to the game by any chance? I don't really have a link to the game in the sense that, like, it's not like an OGS game, right? It's just a thing. I can post... oh yeah, I can post the Go for Go link, but in order to download that, you kind of would need to make an account. I guess you can watch it without making an account, so yeah. It's a really interesting game, I'm sure. Oh, you have an account, okay. I actually haven't looked at it until the end. Like, I looked through it very briefly without analyzing it, and I saw who won. But, yeah. Anyway, I think white's eventually compelled to play r7 anyway. And if you play it now, you might just be hurting these stones, which, you might want to sacrifice. So R7 makes sense. Yeah, this jump makes sense. And yeah, white sacks the stones, so there's no reason to use the stones anyway. And now black probably tenukis, I think. Yeah, black tenukis. And this is just, black's play makes sense. Because you got these stones, and then as advertised, you cut at p5. And white's play does somewhat make sense as well, because you played these stones which sort of counteract the black's wall, and you made life here, and your other stones are working together. So this looks very reasonable for both players so far. Also, if I had to guess, these players have played these josekis before, and they have a good idea of what's going on. So we jump g17. Yeah, this is okay. I have to say, one thing I'll mention is that locally in Europe, nobody ever plays anything except k17. Like, instead of... like, there's nothing else that European players play. It's always the pincer. You don't play here or here. Or here. Almost all European players pincer, including me. So European joseki. Somehow I always feel afraid when I put myself in Shin Jinseo's opponent's shoes. Well, when I think of pro games, one mistake I often make in pro games is that... Or that I used to make in pro games, now I'm very wary of it, is that I look at who won the game, because I see who won the game before I start analyzing, and then my opinion is shifted by who I saw won the game. And let's say maybe afterwards I'll check the computer, and the computer says, no, the guy who lost was winning all game and then ended up messing up, Shin Jinseo is the guy who couldn't make a normal account on an online server without being banned for using AI. Oof. Shin Jinseo plays super simple in a sense. I quite like it. Oh, okay. Yeah, even when Shin Jinseo loses, it's so scary. Yeah, this reminds me. So I don't know how much you people keep up with Japanese title games. I do to an extent, because they're the slowest time-setting tournament games you can get, which I like. And I was recently replaying the Iyama versus Konorin games from, I think, the Kisei. And Iyama was 3-0, as expected. And not as expected, Iyama wasn't 4-0. Iyama's currently 3-1. And I was watching the game, and what really impressed me is that Iyama... I can even I can even show that game very, very, very quickly. Like, I won't analyze it. I'll just, show you very quickly what the end of the game was. So, wait, where are you? Downloads. I think it's in downloads. Yeah, it's here. So I'll show you very quickly. So, I was also reviewing this game with a friend. I have a friend who, we often review games together, sort of. Oh, Suyoki15, thank you very much for the follow. Did you change screen? Did I change screen? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm changing the overlay so that it's on the right. So it's in the right place as well. Yeah. Yeah, okay, this is the right place. So yeah, but anyway, thanks for the first follow of the stream, Tsuyoki. Yeah, so this is the game ignore the Nongshim Cup analysis. I'm not bothered to change the overlay, but Konorin is white and Iyama is black. I was replaying this game a couple of days ago, on the board with my friend. And this game's really funny, because Iyama got a terrible position on the top right. I was looking at this, and I was like, oh. In terms of pro game, in a pro game, this is the equivalent of a blunder. Black got a terrible position. I checked the computer. Konorin is white. Iyama's black. And when I checked the computer, it said that white's only 5 points up, which is, apparently kind of you know, which is playable, right? In human terms, even for professionals, being 5 points down is playable. But the point is that, you know, this looked like such a huge blunder on Iyama's part. It just confused me. I saw a Tanguy commentary the other day, struck me as exactly what the impression of the French army was like. Really? I mean, that's funny, but Tanguy is not a shy player. What Tanguy does, I like to call Tanguy a cockroach player. So what he does is that he's like, I live here, and I live here, and I'll live here, and I live under your boot, and I'll live in your house, and I'll live in your kitchen, you know? And just in case, you know, I'll live everywhere, you know? That's the impression I get. So he's very, like, invasion-y player. And really likes solid territory. So that's the type of impression I get from him. And that means he often gets into very crazy fights where he's just trying to survive. So I guess that's technically defensive, but the point is he's not a scared player. He's kind of confident in his go. Sound of voice also was chock full of surrender. Oh yeah, that happens when he talks to me as well. My record against Tanguy is really good recently. I think the last time I lost to him was 2016. And I've played him 4 times since then. So, yeah. Okay, so anyway, this game continued. So at some point, Iyama got back in the game. There was this really funny moment here. So Iyama refused to connect because professionals don't connect peeps even if their lives depend on it. Then for some reason, Konorin played here, e7, which doesn't like change anything. If Iyama plays here, it's exactly the same sequence as before. But then Iyama got baited into tenuking this peep, after which they just got some position. And, you know, in the end, I think Konorin got a good result because the group ran out with no eyes and was kind of weird and had to add another move so it doesn't get cut. So I think Konorin got a good result. And let's go a little bit forward here. Yeah, this is the right position. So here, White's just better. White's winning. Like, if White keeps this line of territory and, like, endgame goes normally, White's doing really well. So, Black went insane here. And this is scary. Like, how Iyama Yuta lost this game is really scary. So, his ability to absolutely... And, you know, usually Iyama wins pretty convincingly. Like, his games against Konorin in this title match so far were very, like... Not very, but they were somewhat clean. Like, he was just better, usually. And this game, he's doing badly, and how close he got to recovering this, and the way that he did it was ridiculous. He was talking about how he disagreed with Oscar, saying that the key to victory was arrogance. All I could hear was, I surrender. Oh, Zichen. Your trash talking is solid. If I'm scared of playing you, like, not because of your go, but because of your trash talking. So however much Oscar can surrender. Yeah. Well, interestingly, my lecture for the Nordic Go Dojo very recently, so 2 weeks ago, was about not resigning and about winning lost positions. I'm not very good at surrendering. Generally, I'm quite stubborn. So, yeah, Zichen Mike, most popular streamer in the French community. Yeah. So, just see what happens. I don't want to analyze this because I want to get back to Shin Jinseo versus Ichiri Kiryu. But look at how deep Iyama goes here. So you see this group? So he created this group that's dying inside, but he's like, no, it's fine because I'm gonna kill this one, right? So the plan is that Black's gonna murder White on this side of the board. Balls of titanium. No, it's not about the size of his balls, it's about the size of his pocketbook. Like, people are brave, like, you know, people are brave when they're losing, but it's about how good you... Like, I would try to do this too. Like, if I was faced with this position, I would try to do something similar. The difference is that I would fail miserably, and Iyama doesn't fail miserably. Or like Iyama fails miserably, but because he's playing Konorin, who's pretty good, you know? Like, I don't think I would be able to hold this. I don't think most players would be able to hold this. Trash talk, trick play, and Tanuki at awkward times was mantra of my Go Club in college. Yeah. Yeah, ignore your opponent and trash talk a lot. That's kind of how Go etiquette is best served. So anyway, let's go over here, and in the end, I want to show you how close this was. And these guys are in Byoyomi at this point, 1 minute per move, I think. In the end, I read out this Liberty race. White wins it by 1 Liberty. So from this position, where I think Black is just clearly losing by up to Komi, Black went insane and lost by 1 Liberty. Which the players they're not superhuman. They definitely, Konorin was not like reading this 30 moves ahead and saying, oh, easy win by 1 Liberty. I mean, he probably thought he has it more or less under control, but I don't think it was easy. So this is just insane how hard it is to beat Iyama, like how hard he struggles. So this is just a game that impressed me. But okay, let's go back to the game we actually were reviewing. But yeah, let's see. Let's change an overlay. I must say that I've also done stuff like this, but against opponents my level. I wouldn't pull this off against someone this good, of course. So okay, there we are. So this is the game we were actually looking at. In chess, they say that the mark of a good player is that you have to beat them in every stage of the game to win. Huh. I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm not experienced enough at chess to tell. I think that's probably... If it's true in chess, it's definitely true in Go. Because chess is a game where, like, you can win off of blunders. Even at the top level, people win off of blunders all the time in chess. And it's 1 move blunder and you get like checkmated or you lose something. Go is a little bit more dynamic in that Go is less about calculation, and usually calculation mistakes are less severe. That's my impression. So basically, it's harder for the game of Go to end off of 1 move or 1 mistake. It can, but it's less likely. So if it's true in chess, it's true in Go as well. That you have to beat a player in everything if they're good, So, okay. So back to the game in question. We have M15. This is all very natural. That's... Oh, Sanman's preparing to type something. F16. How IE? Very cryptic of you, Sanman. So, I guess Mao. Okay. I'm wondering. I guess this move makes sense because eventually, not necessarily soon, but eventually, Black wants to play. This is the classic. And then maybe stuff like this is possible, whereas if White plays F16, your stones are working together against this stone over here. But Redman was saying that he wanted E17 instead of F16. Yeah, so I'm kind of happy with that telegraph go because F17's my instinct, right? So this is the move that I would have played. It's just it does leave a little bit less congruence between your stone. So something that top professionals like a lot is stone efficiency. So if your shape isn't efficient, people don't like it. Pros don't like it. And here you're sacrificing stone efficiency for a little bit more territory, which is a hard call to make. I would take the points here. But I would say that if you were like, what's the absolute best shape you can make, is you play F16. So my version of Karago prefers F16. But they're both fine, I guess. Efficiency negates the need for reading. To a certain extent, I agree with that. So I fucked with the settings pretty hard, though. Great for lazy players. Actually, Zichen Mike is really, really, really. I couldn't identify more with Zichen Mike because, so when I was 15, I would only read. Like I was like read, calculate. I crush you by reading. You know, you can't calculate. It's fine. And these days, I'm like, I'll make the right shapes, and reading doesn't matter. If I make the right shapes, it'll work out eventually. You know, that's the attitude I have now. And there's two reasons for that. One of them is that I mean, I'm not old, but I'm older, so I'm lazy. And the other reason is that reading is really hard. Like, even if you want to read, it's hard. Like, if you read, you make mistakes. And if you're playing bad shapes and thinking you can, your reading will somehow magically make it so that your shapes work out because you read it, you're going to be wrong most of the time because reading's hard. So the point is, reading is made much easier when your shapes are good. So I always try to pay attention to shape. So, LMA, aren't you like 17? I'm 18. I turned 18 very recently. And the third reason is that you've been watching lots of Zichen Mike streams on an alt account. Yeah. Reading is also super exhausting. Yeah, it's time exhausting and it's energy exhausting. So when I play tournament games and I have 1 hour to think, the precious time I have, I don't want to spend it reading things that are useless. I need to very, 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 very specifically choose what I read throughout the game. So generally making shape is much better than reading, because when you read, you make mistakes. If you find the right shape, well, you find the right shape. And F16 is the right shape. So, when you play F17, later in the game, you might have to read, well, what happens when black tries to get out, Maybe you won't, but maybe you will. So, embrace the basics. We have a Batsko fan in here. You're supposed to peak in your 20s. Yeah, I intend to peak. Yeah, I hope I haven't peaked yet. That would be kind of sad. That would be kind of sad. So, okay. So F16, nice discussion about, I don't know, shape. E18 is natural here, like you don't want to Tanuki and then have white play this one. So okay, makes sense. And Basco fans, oof. Yeah, hello Meow. D18. I was wondering if I want to play D18 because it's not good shape. Like, remember how I was talking about shape, and this move leaves 2 cutting points. Like, black's gonna cut through, like, the cutting points aren't a big deal because you can always sack this stone. But, it's annoying. On the other hand, you want money, so, playing this move would be weird. I would actually be a little bit tempted to Tanuki here, because I don't want to play this because the shape isn't optimal. And I don't want to play here because then it's really small and black's going to crush me in the endgame with this move. So, if I play here, then black's going to make shape and reduce Incente. And, if I play here, black's still going to be able, to play this type of move later, potentially. So, it's like the corner gets significantly reduced if I don't play D18, but D18 leaves a slightly suspicious shape. Oh, hello there. Baby Shamble joins the chat as well. So, yeah, I think... But okay, I mean, the shape isn't terrible, it's just slightly suboptimal. Oh, and G16? And Tanuki. Tanuki, then black C17. I hate the shape. Why did you shoulder hit twice with no good follow-ups for either of them? Huh. I mean, the corner's big, that's the thing. The corner's very big. I mean, the shape's fine. The shape's fine for white. This looks a little bit... The thing that this looks like the most... So the thing that this looks like the most is some kind of kick joseki. Redmond strikes me as the quintessential gote player. I think they call it honte in Japan. But wait, Zichan, weren't you talking about how you love shape and you love honte because then you don't need to read? Like, I mean, I have to say that I like sente a lot as well, but generally the two things I prioritize the most in Go are sente and shape. So, yeah. You can do both, usually. So anyway, the point was that the shape that this reminds me of the most is probably this. Our true love is the peep. I mean, the true love of most professionals is the true love of most professionals is ignoring a peep no matter how bad it is. Like just in that Iyama game that I just showed you a second ago, Iyama didn't answer a normal peep, and it was like insane. It's like an insane decision, you know? Like I was looking at this, like really, that's crazy, you know? That's what I thought, you know? And I looked at the computer, and the computer agreed. So I would have played a better move than Iyama. The only time that game where that would have happened. So, yeah, I heard Hunt is about admitting how much you suck. Yeah. Not a very Hunte player then. Oh, hello there, Yoki. We have the NGD delegation here. So this reminds me a little bit, a very tiny little bit, of this type of Joseki. Like, this could happen. Black Keimas, white Tenukis, black police G17, and there's this kind of shape. And if we compare it to this variation, it's like you have a similar amount of moves and a kind of similar-ish shape. Like, this looks okay, I think. Like, this looks okay. Like, I don't think that this is bad for white. Like, it's a little bit bad, but it's fine. That's my guess. Who likes to answer peeps? Besides Cornell, maybe. I like to answer peeps, meow. So, the point is that everyone's like, I don't want to answer peeps. Like, the professionals are like... I'd say that most of professionals' mistakes before move 60 or something like that, or not most, but a huge lot of them are like, we don't answer a peep because like I'm physically unable to connect a peep. That and that's why to a certain extent I've grown fond of just answering a peep. Like, what's the problem? I'm answering a peep. It's normal, you know? Like, remember how like back in the 70s and 80s, like connecting something wasn't considered a bad idea, you know? So somehow I take a degree of joy in just answering a peep. But that's maybe just yeah, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't, but boomer. actually I wasn't born in that time. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just remember how back in my day, I told you I'm old. I told you, Battle Porridge. So I had a holiday from my normal school, and I got time to replay a lot of pro games. And actually, I got really into Fujisawa Shuko games. So yeah, that was fun. So I was watching boomer games, very boomer games. Very suspicious Go, by AI standards, but they're pretty good, much better than I am. So okay, we have the block, and then G16. I feel like G16, as I adjust my posture because it's terrible as usual, it's kind of meant to prevent white from getting it in Sente, if I had to guess. So, but it's not intuitive to me. Like, to me, I would just Tenuki and looks okay, no? Like, does somebody see the problem if we Tenuki? Like, this isn't, like, the end of the world. And this isn't the end of the world either, I think. So, to me, it seems a tiny bit like I would much rather take Sente rather than play here and let white take Sente. But on the other hand, this stone is obviously going to help on the left side. We just need to see how much, so. White can surround. Mike Karago wants C13 too. Oh, yeah, I mean, my instinct would be probably c13 and make something on the side of the board. Probably. Like, just live everywhere, it's fine. Like, we don't care if white... Yeah, white can surround, as Romanskaigo says, but it's like, you know, fine. Just live everywhere, what's the problem? Is white gonna, like, build something with this Moyo? No, white's gonna do nothing. I mean, of course, the problem with being enclosed is that something like M18 might be sent there. Or, you know, white's gonna... Often when you're enclosed and this type of move starts to become sente, or this type of move starts to become sente, which maybe isn't, but probably it is, then you're hurting the corner as well on the top right. So that's the disadvantage with getting enclosed. The advantage for getting enclosed is that you're getting 2 extra moves. 2 extra moves are nice, you know, I like extra moves. So, don't they describe his style as counterattack? Shin Jinseo? I don't know, but... I don't think I've ever seen Shin Jinseo go for a position where he's getting kind of attacked with 2 groups and none for white, really. Ah, so here we're talking about that Shin Jinseo plays G16 because we want to keep these stones under pressure. Now, okay, so this is maybe where I differ with top professionals, and maybe where I need to improve my Go, which is that I don't see it as necessary to have the pressure advantage on the board. Like, yeah, so for example... A lot of people like getting, don't like getting surrounded because it feels bad. I don't care if it feels bad. I don't think getting surrounded is a problem a lot of the time. Sometimes it's a problem, but sometimes it's not. I have to say that, you know, whenever I check the computer or, you know, whenever I play the game afterwards, I'm like, yeah, you know what? It kind of sucks to be enclosed because, like I said, the type of thing that happens when you're enclosed is that, you know, suddenly M18 is sent there, so you're hurting everything. G16 to pressure those and play C13 later without debt. Yeah, so... I think that there's something to be said here with that I underappreciate pressure. And G16 is a subtle move, which means that suddenly white, instead of connecting the M17 stones and, you know, getting maybe some center moves on the top side and maybe getting to destroy the corner and stuff, you know, suddenly black has a lot of control. And the reason that I don't like it very much is that you're spending a move, you're wasting a move, I like Sente, and, you know, M17 and M15, these marked stones, I mean, it's good if they're not connected, but are they weak? They're not weak, they're... Like, it's hard, like, it's very hard to attack these stones. It's not like they're weak. So, it's like you're investing in very intangible, eventual pressure. Very, very, very eventual. Like, in the far future. Is you know, cutting these stones going to be useful for you? And I don't really identify with that. I'd rather just take Sente and do something that makes sense now. So the type of thing that makes sense now is I want to make a group on the left side and live. Now, the thing is that when that happens, I'm giving my opponent control of the direction of the board for the rest of the game. But perhaps I, as a player, undervalue the effect of giving my opponent control of the rest of the game. You know, back in the day, I only valued pressure. But nowadays, I maybe value pressure a little bit too little. I think the issue with getting surrounded early is that you suddenly need to read and you haven't finished your first cup of coffee yet. Yeah, that's correct. I agree with that. I mean, yeah, recently, I mean, I could show some of my games, but recently I've really gotten into the living thing, like where I just live with a bunch of groups. It's way too fun. So, how I said earlier that Tongi plays like a cockroach, just living everywhere, that's very fun. So actually, when I say that I don't like reading, I don't mind it. It's fun. So, yo, hello Poda. What's up? How are you doing? We're doing great over here. So far, understanding this game more than I thought I would. Because when I look at Shin Jinseo games, usually I'm like, I don't understand what's going on at this point. They're already fighting, and they ignored like 5 different peeps, and they're like, you know, they're reading a lot, and this is like normal, you know, this is normal so far. I'm sure it'll go out of control eventually, but not yet. So Shin Jinseo's style doesn't have to be your style. Yeah, maybe not. Like, maybe c13 and d11 is okay. Like, maybe it's not a bad move, what I want to do. But it's interesting how this type of player values initiative and pressure much more than tangible things at times. So, okay, so the other thing that is perhaps being said by g16 is that, you know, white doesn't have a clear move to close the left side. Like, black's gonna create, you know, at his leisure, black's gonna create a group on the left side, and probably it's hard for white to stop him in a nice way. So this is maybe another idea of g16. So white's just playing elsewhere. And if you're playing elsewhere, playing on the right side makes quite a bit of sense. Like, there's nowhere else left. So... Oh, n14, let's keep the stones cut. I was actually wondering, what if we just play the shape move? This feels like a big move, no? Like, capping on top. Like, maybe it's like the move a Q is attracted to, but you know. Why not? You know, like, I would have expected black to jump. But I guess if black jumps, then white's connected, and we can't have that. So... n14. And if this happens, are you just gonna... S12 later and just reduce? Maybe. But still, this move looks like the best shape to connect your stones up with. So this jump is not my intuition, certainly. Also, when you play this type of jump and black pushes through, like, I'm not sure if black will push here, probably not, because it doesn't help, but say that black pulls out the stone somehow, this, putting the stones so close kind of accentuates the fact that they're separated. So, I'm not sure. I don't like this move. Like, if someone played this against me, I'd think it's a mistake. Now, because Ichiri Kiryu is playing it, I'm thinking that I think it's a mistake, but there's a reason he's playing it, let's say. And yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering... I mean, maybe it's aiming at some sort of cutting point, so later you're gonna do this, but maybe. Okay, so black jumped here. Which makes a little bit of sense, and the reason is that if we played here, which is first instinct, then white plays here, and then white has good shape, and... Or maybe even this one, actually. And sort of leans on the top side to get out. So you play this one, white's sort of forced to push. White didn't push, but white's sort of forced to push. And then it's like your stones don't make sense. So of course white doesn't push, white does something else. But the point is, if white pushes, which is the obvious move, then this move definitely doesn't make sense. You can't do this. So it's not good. So anyone with AI in the chat want to suggest one move after white p10 instead of o12? P10 instead of o12? Aha. Instead of o12? Ah. Here, what does black play? By the way, I wasn't saying black should play this now. Like, I wasn't... So for the record, I didn't mean that black plays s12 immediately. I mean that... I mean that black has this resource in the future. You know? d14. Oh, d14, we just tenuki completely the area. Huh. You misread, I guess. Yeah, that happens all the time. I agree. So, tenuki might be a move here. Locally, p11. I don't like p11. I don't really like p11. Like, what are you achieving? Like, do you want to do this? White would cut and black Atari's out? This? You're doing this? Why? I'm confused. This is good for... Wait. To sacrifice. Yeah. So, black goes out, right? Then we go down. And then black is like easy sacrifice? Or... We probably play this move, I'm guessing. Or maybe we just Atari. Maybe, I guess we just Atari. But my bot wants N10 Atari. Probably this. Connect up, basically. Okay. I have to say, this is a little bit related to what I said earlier, which is that black does have great endgame later. It's not like white keeps much. So, you know, maybe this is the kind of thing that, aside from this specific sequence, perhaps the main argument that maybe Ichiriki would make for jumping this way is that the right side isn't mine. Like, I can play here, it doesn't matter, black has this later. So, if you look at it from that perspective, then you're not in a hurry to... You're not necessarily in a hurry to prioritize the right side. So this jump is just a different way of getting the group out that is maybe, you know, not giving black as much control on the outside. So in that sense, I probably enjoy what white's doing here. It's definitely deep from the original Hane at P11. Need to be quite flexible to come up with this idea. Well, I mean, after black, I would have, like, I have no temptation here to try and save the stone at Q10. So to me, it's natural to find a sacrificial sequence. I just wouldn't particularly think of doing it this way. Like, I don't mind sacrificing it, but my instinct would just be to leave it and later play here. So, this one's a little bit counterintuitive to me in terms of shape, because it's not immediately obvious what black's getting out of this. Though it does become obvious a little bit later, where black just connects everything and it's solid, so fair enough. So we go back to the game, black jumps, and white plays p16, which is a curious move. I guess you have to do something that isn't m14. So, you know, I was thinking, do you want to play here or something? I was reading P11 and Sacrifice personally, but the flexibility of dying solidly is hard to read past. Yes, it's true that it's hard to see the point of playing the P11 stuff. But it does make sense if you already intended to sacrifice, which, I mean, I did, so I should be able to see this somehow. So, if we go back to this move, I have no intention whatsoever of ever saving the Q10 stone. So then it should be natural to just sacrifice it, but somehow I didn't think of it, so that's maybe something I need to work on. So, okay, K15, white plays here, which you kind of have to. Like I said, M14 just doesn't make your stones work together, so if white got to this point on the board, you're going to do something else. And then the idea of this one is that if black extends, which is the obvious move, then what do you do next? You just jump and not care about the stones, maybe. Maybe. And then you can pull them out later. But this is, for example, what I don't understand too well. I mean, white has to jump down, but... But black doesn't answer. Okay. This looks like it'll be a cool move sometime. Not now, but sometime. I mean, now white just plays here and doesn't care, but it'll be a cool cutting point at some point. Like, relatively soon. Okay. Yeah, go down makes sense. Like, it is the obvious move, but black exchanged first. And then... Oh, and now white fixes. So, yeah, so I'm thinking that black, white wanted to do this. So black asks the question, do you want to keep the right side? And white's like, yes, I'd like to keep the right side eventually. Like, I'd like to have the ability to play O10 and make points. So then black's like, okay, then protect your cutting point, because otherwise I'm going to do this to you, and then you're not going to be happy. So yeah, this okay, maybe more like this. Now you do it, and now white, isn't happy at all. So white defends, and this gives black tempo. Now black can probably, if I were black, I'd certainly connect something like this. Oh, this is the move. I guessed it. Okay, so yeah. I remember it was around this fight and the Ichiriki was running out of main time. Wait, how fast was the game? It was played online, right? They're like Corona stuff, but isn't it how much time did they have? 1 hour, 1 minute times 5 Byoyomi. Wait, that's really fast. That's like yeah, actually this reminds me of a funny story. So a very recent story. So some of you may or may not have heard of Antti Tormanen, right? So he was playing a tournament game, and where he got this recent victory of his against a 9-dan professional, which he reviewed on Miko's stream. And this was he made this funny statement where he was like, this was a blitz game, and what he meant by blitz, like, actually this was, we were in our lesson, we were in our lesson, and we were talking about it with Jeff, my other teacher, and Auntie was like, yeah, we played a blitz game. And when I think of blitz game, I'm like 20 seconds 3 times with 10 minutes main time. That's what I think, And apparently what he meant by blitz game, and this is Japanese professional privilege at its finest, what he meant was 1 hour with 1 minute times 5 periods Byoyomi. That was his definition of a blitz game, which made me like really, really mad. Like, that's blitz for you. Come on. You're kidding. Like, that's not even funny. 32 Oz Coke, thank you for following. So if it's 10 plus if 10 plus 20 seconds times 3 is blitz, what do you call like 1 plus 10? Well, the point is, yeah, not go is correct. Yeah. So, well, let's say in my terms, I would call 10 seconds 3 times. I would call that blitz go. But the point is, I know that they play slower in Japan. So when he said blitz tournament, I thought that he'd mean, like, I'd already adjusted my expectations, Let's put it that way. I'd probably still call, 3 times 10 blitz. So I see all the chess streamers do 1 to 3 minute absolute. I mean, chess is easier to play with low time because there's much fewer moves and half of them are theoretical. So, or not always, but often. So it's much easier to just churn them out. Doing a 1 minute game, like, imagine trying to finish a game of Go with 1 minute absolute. Like, you don't physically have the ability to put the stones, like, imagine pre-moving in Go, yeah, exactly. So, okay. So, white pulls the stones out, that makes sense. Oh, and we jump. Yeah, okay, wait, jump is unintuitive. Like, here I would be like, I would be very happy to do this and be like, aha, the elephant eye, and I start doing cartwheels because my opponent's shape is bad. And this move it just wouldn't even occur to me, It just wouldn't even occur to me at all. So, yeah, the point is, I've already found a good move. There's no need to find, there's no need to find a better one, Like, actually, Emmanuel Lasker said differently, but I'm not Emmanuel Lasker, so. Also, chess has way more positions where you already know what the opponent must do. Yes. Conditional moves on OGS. Well, the point is that pre-moves aren't necessarily conditional to what the opponent does. So, like, you don't do that in Go. Unintuitive and minus 15%. Okay. When you see checkmate in one, look for better. Yeah. Like committing to a move no matter what. Yeah. Well, the reason it's not so bad in chess, it's that often pre-moves are like, you pre-move that if your piece is taken, you take back. Which is a very easy pre-move to make, because if you're like, if your piece isn't taken, then you can't take your own piece, so then you just won't make the pre-move. But often people are also pre-moving moves that aren't captures, which is kind of dangerous. But you gotta save time. So in Go, I think pre-moving is much more dangerous. So, yeah. So, but I mean, in chess you can pre-move. Like, for example, I'm sure that there's some like London system or King's Indian players that have just literally pre-moved their first like 9 moves. You know, I'm sure that that's not entirely uncommon. So, pre-move in co-fight, maybe, yeah. Okay, so black is like, opponent is in Byoyomi, let's make trouble. Maybe. I mean, I find it hard to understand this move. Like, just cut the shape. I mean, cut the shape. What are you doing? I mean, what are you doing? So white plays what's wrong if white plays the obvious move? Oh god, I need an adult. I guess it's this. I guess that this is actually not good for white. Okay, Shin Jinseo's not as bad as he plays. Yeah, Shin Jinseo's okay. Like, this is tough for white. Like, you play here, probably. You might even play here. Yeah, you might even play here. You're an wait, I'm an adult, yes. Wait, I'm an adult, as of very recently. That's depressing, but okay. So probably you push here, even. And then white's shape is breaking apart. Okay, this move is tricky. Because the obvious move doesn't work. My condolences on reaching adulthood, yeah. I guess reaching adulthood isn't so bad, but there's like worse to come, that's the problem. So, yeah. I guess then it's this turn. Yeah, this turn looks fine as well. Like, at first I was like, which move punishes harder? So, okay, maybe only one move punishes. And, the idea is that if black plays here, now we do this, and now our shape is fine. Like, what's the problem? So, and, you know, we can also do this, or we can do this. Everything works. So black's not going to do that. I think the idea for black was actually to pivot and hane here. So, like, you're allowing yourself to get cut and allowing white to connect these stones, or like pseudo connect, but you're sort of pivoting and saying, oh, now this shape will be like the way I get out on the right side. Now, the reason that this is very unintuitive to me is that, why don't you just pull out your stones, you know, cut white's shape in a nice way and force the white group on the top to be weak? Like, you have plenty of time to pull out the stone at A because white's weak on the top side. So like this, it's like black does some... it's okay. You get the feeling that Shin Jinseo is feeling quite confident the entire game. That's a very Shin Jinseo thing to be, I think. I think top players have to be very confident. That's a prerequisite, unless you're Tongyi, apparently. So, okay. Wow. So I'm not sure if you get the feeling because you should get the feeling, or because it's Shin Jinseo who wins all the time anyway. So what's the idea here? I mean, cutting doesn't look spectacular because white's literally just gonna run. And that, you know, looks fine for white. This is sente, or sente enough, and then the group just gets out. I don't get the same from white's move, so I'll say. Well, probably when you're playing Shin Jinseo, like, I'm a very confident player, right? I am very confident. But when I play Ilya, I'm not as confident as I should be. Now, I'm still confident, but there's this twinge of I'm playing Ilya that kind of seeps into your bones and makes it hard to play normally. I think when I play any other player in Europe, I don't get that same feeling. So any other player in Europe, I will play them normally, as I would, with utter confidence that I will win. But when I play Ilya, there's a slight little twinge, and that twinge is actually the main reason Ilya wins games. Like of course he's a good Go player, but he has this, like, at this point he has this aura around him that makes him a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you know, maybe Shin Jinseo is similar. So okay, so white Tenukis and lets this happen. Ah, fear aura too strong. I mean, this is a Ponuki. What's the problem with connecting? Oh, hello there, Zappo90. Welcome. What's the problem with connecting? I mean, black cuts and we just run out. What's the problem? I'm a bit confused. Because this just looks good for black. Like, for example, this is also a way of cutting. The black Ponuki is slow, no? We already got strong by pushing. Well, think of it this way. These are Miyai now, so white's cut, correct? So this is, like, already a gain you get out of getting a Ponuki. You fix this cut, this move isn't Sente anymore. Therefore, this group is much weaker than it was before. Like, much weaker. In one move. So, you know, those would be my, like, my reason, that would be my reasoning behind saying that P12 is a deceptively powerful move. It might be a little slow, but it's powerful. Like, I don't think, I think it can hardly be a bad move. So, but let's see what happens. Plus, it's a Ponuki. Well, yeah, I mean, it is as far as Ponukis go, it's not very interesting, but it's a Ponuki. Oh, and we play, wait. Is the idea that if I place this move, we start a Ko for the group? So, Shin Jinseo is like, we've half captured the group in Ko, let's kill it. Fine. Yeah, maybe. The black Ponuki, oh wait, I read that already, yes. So, yeah, so maybe K12 is okay, but white, okay, yeah, the top side is maybe not that big that white can't be a little bit flexible about it. Okay, now we connect. And now if black cuts, which black shouldn't, then white's still going to get this Incente and get out, probably. If black plays here, we're gonna wedge. And then black's probably getting himself into way too much trouble. That's my guess. You're gonna have to defend here next. White also gets to push out. So this type of thing, it's hard to hold the group. That's the point. So, I mean, I understand K12. I mean, it's probably a good move, right? But it's not like you've captured the group. So we'll see what happens. Oh, now white connect, and now black doesn't care. Yeah, so this is, I don't know what to say about this. I think white actually got the upper hand in these exchanges. And the reason is, if white played here, you know, like I said, cutting here is worthless, or close to worthless. You know, it's dame. And you'd rather do this and force white to connect. But then somehow white got to play here, never connecting, right? Still not connecting. Then, you know, you played somewhere else and let white get this exchange in center, which really limits the lower side. And then this move doesn't make as much sense as it could. Like, to me, at this stage, it would make much more sense to fix your shape in such a way that you're connected to the lower side of the board. So perhaps the right type of move would be, you know, maybe something as crude as 08. I mean, 08 looks bad, but you connect everything. Make a wall and make the lower side. So I'm not sure I agree with what happened in the game. The other thing that black could have considered, which, you know, I espoused earlier, is that we just, you know, take take the Ponuki, so I don't know. Like, of course, white never gave black the chance to play 08, but the point is, had white started by connecting, I would never play this move. That's my point. Like, or not that I would never play it, but if white... I would never, like, let this result happen, specifically, where white not only gets to play N7, but gets to play this move in Sente. And then K12 is, like, not really doing anything clear. So, I don't know. Black went wrong here somewhere. Okay, but what's more scary, K12 or 08? Shin Jinseo is a horror movie monster. He just wants to be scary. I mean, I know plenty of players that also want to be scary, but they lose a lot. You know? They're not, like, that's... If your only, like, purpose in life is to be scary, that's not necessarily good for you. So, I don't know. Like, I know it looks scary, and, you know, I spent an earlier part of this stream talking about how you kind of need to pay attention to pressure and how I maybe as a player undervalue pressure. But nevertheless, you know, I don't see Black's idea here, aside from being scary, which is... Being scary... What kind of an excuse is being scary for being a top player? Like, you're not... And I mean, I may just be misinterpreting the position, right? But if it is as I interpret, K12 being scary isn't a reason for playing it. You know? Like, I mean, of course, maybe it's just a better move than I think it is. It's slightly suboptimal. And Shin Jinseo knows that the pressure he gets off of this move is going to be worth it. It's just... This is the type of move I'd expect Jonas Veltika to play in Europe. So those of you who know the European Go scene know what I'm talking about. It's like, ooh, I'm attacking. Believe me, please, you know? So, I mean, I may just be underestimating how strong the move is, so... But we'll see what happens. I mean, he did win this game, like, you know, maybe like 50 moves later. Or not maybe a little bit more, but the game didn't last long, I think, so... Wait, how many moves? Yeah, he won the game 140 moves later. So I have to say, you know... Oh, thank you for the bits, Ascrotokinius22.
Hello.
You're back. You have re-emerged. Welcome back. So... Yeah, and thanks for the bits. So... Yeah, I mean, this maybe will be a stream to Ascrotokinius' liking, because we're playing... we are observing the most, like, AI-like human to have ever existed, so... Just came back from a run, we'll be lurking a bit. Yeah, enjoy your stay. Okay, so... For now, all of this pressure that Black wanted to build on in the center, we kind of do nothing with it, and we'll see what happens later. So Black makes a group, and White plays K14. Huh. I'm gonna say I don't like K14, and the main reason is that it validates K12. Like, this, yeah, this... You know, maybe Shin Jinseo is just being a fake, scary pretend monster, but Ichiriki got scared, so what can I say? I mean, if Ichiriki believes, then probably most people will believe it, so... Like, I mean, these players, even in Byoyomi, which they might be in, read quite deeply, let's say. So... You know, it may be that there's some reading behind this. I don't understand why you're not scared of O15 at all. Well, it's not like I'm not scared of it at all. I'm saying that Black should be more scared of it than White. Like if I were Black, I'd be terrified of playing Dame. And it not getting me anything. Point number one. Then, here White plays this move, and I think if you play here, you kind of are... Like, this, as far as I can tell, Black's shape is breaking apart. Like, you can't make it here. I already analyzed this sequence earlier, and I don't see how you keep White from breaking out. So, maybe this connection is a little bit more severe. This could be more severe. But I thought that I had a way out here as well, so... Probably this attachment. This attachment's very attractive to me in this situation. The idea being that if we Hane... we actually don't play Tiger Mouth, we Keima. And if black insists on cutting, then we try and murder black in return, kind of thing. So I just see it as that white isn't even... I'm scared of it. I agree. You know? I agree it's scary, but it's scary for black too. Like, if you look at it without reading and evaluate how much aji, if you've got to live white there no matter how the board evolves, that's big. Well, let's put it this way. I'm not even sure white's weaker here. Right? That's what I'm trying to communicate. I'm not... When I see this, it's not like, can white survive? This isn't the question I'm asking. Black plays here, I'm asking how much damage can white do to black as well. So, I think that white's almost, not quite, but almost an equal actor in this fight, and has very good chances of also counterattacking. You know, when I look at this, like, horribly weak black shape. And, you know, that sort of, I mean, maybe even this, the most crude variation where we also cut. How is this going? Where if black tries to live, we play this in Geta, assuming that, like, keeping in mind that this move, this stone is sent to capture in Geta here, kind of thing. So, I mean, these players are much better than me, right? And probably, like, they can give me around 3 stones, 3 to 4 stones. So they're better than me, right? And, well, maybe not 4, but yeah, probably around 3. 3 is probably fair. And, you know, I'm sure that there's a lot of reading behind this that maybe I didn't see, right? To a certain extent, with players of this level, calculation overrides feeling. Like, shape feeling as in, you know, my experience, in my experience, this fight isn't bad for white. White isn't on the back foot here, even. So, the reason I'm not scared is that I think my opponent should be more scared. And the reason is we're entering an unclear fight where black actually has more shape problems than white does. And black starts it by playing a dame, you know? You're playing dame, right? That's like a big thing, you know? And you're wasting a move to start an equal fight. Like, what are you doing, you know? And this can be overridden if the players just say, well, I read it, what's the problem? You know? I read everything because I'm Shin Jinseo or I'm Ichidiki Ryo. Like, they do a lot more calculation than I do. So I have to say that, you know, I'm not saying that they're wrong, I'm saying that I would never do this. Especially when there's such a, like, crucial moment on the left side of the board. So, I mean, this gives black so much initiative. Like, K14 is, like... I don't know if it's good or not, but if you need to play K14, then the position's bad for white. That's what I'll mention. Okay. J15... Tenuki, okay. You kind of want to play J15 because otherwise black's Hane is nice. But yeah, then the top side doesn't get very big anymore, so. Wow. Now we go for the cash. That's interesting because if I were white, now that I have these 2 stones, I'd be a little bit tempted to see what I can do about black's group in the middle. Just a little bit. Maybe not very, but a little bit. So this is... it's hard to attack. It's very hard to attack. And the reason it's very hard to attack is that these A and B, they're very, like, poignant for black. They're very hard to, like, really do anything in the middle because black is overall quite strong, even if black's one group in the middle is a little bit suspicious. So it's okay. We just take the money. This is a really funny move. Like, you know, the fight is still, like, really uncertain. There's this that's a little bit weak, this that's a little bit weak. And, you know, in general, it is true that the other groups aren't weak. A is kind of strong. You can always play K16 or connect. You know, white's poking his head out here. This group kind of has a base on the left side. So there's nothing that weak. And, you know, maybe this informs white's decision to just make some cash. It's just strange move. The other, good point that it has is that you're going to be able to play b5 later and connect everything. So, RDD38, thank you very much for the follow. Would be Sente for black. Yeah, I mean, it is very big, right? It is black Sente. I agree with that. Oh, and black cuts. And this feels like white Tenukis, actually. Let's see. Yeah, this feels like white Tenuki. And the reason it feels like white Tenuki is that if you play, if you do nothing, later you're going to play b5, which essentially connects these stones. So then you don't really care about the left side. The other advantage, like I said, of b3 is that you have the b5 connection. So, yeah. So black cuts, but white doesn't care. Okay. And then white makes shape in the center, which, if we consider black playing d8, now suddenly black is one move. So let's say white passes. And black plays here, which is maybe not necessarily the right move, but it's probably an okay move. Black's influence is very, very, very solid here. So, suddenly everything's working together. So, I kind of agree with white's choice here to just throw a wrench in black's Moyo ideas. It's a little bit weird to play in empty space, but it's big empty space. It's important empty space. And, after white establishes this group, like we were talking about earlier, this group of blacks is also being kind of put in jeopardy for that. So if I were black, I would actually be considering, to peep here, but also to play some defensive move in the center. There's also this move to consider for white. So if white does this, then you're putting this guy under attack on the left side. So I kind of like what white did here. It makes sense. And, maybe even black will choose to defend the left side next. But okay, yeah. I was just wondering which one you do. So if black plays a move on the left side, though it's hard to choose a satisfactory one. Like, you're not going to play this. This is, ugly and small. So, and the other thing, I was tempted to play a move such as K9. That's maybe the type of defensive move I would go for in the middle. But then I was wondering, well, how do you deal with this? This is pretty nice for white. You're getting a lot of counterplay. So probably black's okay. And the reason black's okay is that, let's say white plays here. We're gonna Hane, and then we're gonna Tiger Mouth, and then we're threatening to connect with, something like, B11 clamp type of thing, or A10 Hane, probably A10 Hane. And if white, prevents it, then we're actually gonna play B16, and then white's own corner is in a little bit of trouble. So it's not like black's dying here, but it's big. This fight on the left side is very big, so it's might be important to consider it. So black defends, and white plays C9. So, oh my god, okay. Okay, this makes a little bit of sense, because if white plays here, then we cut through, and then white can't play this because we were cutting white, and white's dying and resigning. But oh, actually, wait, we can turn here, and black's also dying and resigning. Everyone dies and resigns. Huh. So, black can't do anything immediately, but it does give black... everything is Sente. Like, this move is Sente. Probably this move is Sente to, well, black will ask this move, and then play here. Kind of thing. And then you're threatening very, very, concrete threat of cutting at D15. And white also wants a move on the left side. So white probably defends a little bit more, a little bit more solidly. If white plays this move, then later in the game, black's gonna still push here, and then still push here, and then white's also dying. So this B16 idea has it has a very similar motif as my B14 Hane earlier, where I'm preparing B16, but playing it directly is really interesting because you're preparing some ideas with E15 as well. So it's a very nice move. Now we jump out. That probably makes sense, yes. Though I'm wondering... I'd still be tempted So first of all, I think the issue with this move is that white will, do this Hane wedge thing. And if black plays a15, then white's going to try to kill black on the left side as well. And, white's threatening to kill here, white's threatening to kill here. So black probably has his hands a little bit too full to where this Han is not really an option yet. The point is that I was trying to read, well, what if we play this way and then we try to survive? And then again, just like I was saying earlier, we can try this kind of move and connect on the second line. And the reason I want to play like this is that, c8's really big. C8 is really, really big. This is like such a vital shape point that I really want to play it. So this jump doesn't seem to be like such a shape point. What this jump might be is center for b14, because remember how we were talking about how now black's dying with one of the groups? Black's not dying with one of the groups anymore, but maybe white is, because these stones are harder to capture. So maybe this is the type of reading that we're going into. And white sort of prevents b14 for the moment. Get cut, die, resign, then cut your opponent, they die, and resign, repeat. Sounds like one of my games. Wait, you resigned, then your opponent resigned, and that's one game. That's lots of resigning for one game. Oh, 1 November, baby. Thank you for following. Nice. So, don't confuse our dacat. Schrodinger's resignation. Yeah, exactly. So black defends and white. Okay, so b10. I think b10 has a lot to do with this move again. So we're just trying to prevent this from being viable for black. This is the impression I'm getting. At this point, white may even cut this way. So beforehand, so when there were no stones on the left side of the board, I would be very reluctant to give black this ponuki because it's going to be very helpful towards the fight. Now that the fight on the left side has sort of concluded, not concluded, but it's less, white has all of these stones here. Black's ponuki isn't very important, so white can afford to start with the cut. That makes sense. So this is sort of a fix for white. I actually kind of like what white did here so far, because white has kept the threat of b16 at bay, and white has also kept the threat of, black making anything on the left side at bay. Now, the only thing that white hasn't kept at bay is that one day black's going to play here and try to attack the entire white group. Like, that's the part where you have to worry about still. Schrodinger's resignation happens when one player has a superposition. That's... Jesus Christ. It's pretty dumb. That's such a dumb... That's the type of joke that's so bad it's good. Good job. Yeah. Cool joke. So yeah, the white group in the center might become a problem, and I'm starting to suspect that this is why Ichiriki resigned. So yeah, he resigned like 30 moves later, so yeah, goes hard. Wait, one second. It's something I'm checking. Okay, now I'm not checking it anymore. Jokes that loop around. Yeah. So white just plays... Wow, this is... I guess that this is a roundabout way. So, when black plays e9... What are you threatening? When black plays e9, it's, kind of scary. Like, let's say you play random move in the center, then black does this business, and now maybe black's gonna play this move and try to murder you with everything? Is that what we're scared of? Maybe. Maybe black even plays a really dumb move like this one. The idea being that you're not locally alive. And just, like, go crazy? Maybe. So, I don't know, it seems like white was scared of something like this. It's a big move anyway, b13. Very big move. But now, very soon, black's gonna start attacking this group. Very soon. So, yeah, finally, the coveted dame is played. And this is, to me, it's not at all immediately obvious what's going on in this position, because white has lots of ice shape. I mean, you're going to be able to play, you know, this type of move, which is kind of threatening to kill black on the... Not kill, but it's pressuring black on the top. How does black answer? Actually, it is... It's actually threatening to kill black on the top. So, you know, K here, and then this move is your send this, or you're going to make an eye on the top side if you want to. And you can also make an eye by playing this move, or not, almost make an eye. So maybe you're going to start with this type of attachment. White's group has lots of ice space. And let's say that white lives everywhere, just for a second. Then, you know, white has a lot of points. White lived everywhere. And these two stones are kind of preventing black from really, you know, using the... from really using any influence to build anything extra. So if white lives unconditionally with like no problems, then it's gonna be hard for black to win. That I think. But okay. And in this position, I'd actually expect white to be better. At some point, those two stones can be cut, right? I'm wondering which stones you're talking about, Dilum. The two in the middle. Do you mean these ones? This kind of thing? Or which two in the middle? I'm sorry, I don't see other stones. M7. They can be. They technically can be. But there is a price for those, for cutting those stones. So let's, hypothetically, let's say that white played this attachment now and tried to make life. Now, maybe if black's really feeling the crazy, he might play here or something to try to kill. But realistically, you play this move, and then maybe black plays something like this, and maybe white plays something like this, and then white sort of, maybe kind of alive. I think white's alive. And now, this is... So this move, the reason I didn't think of this move originally is that black's shape is terrible. So when you cut these stones, you're sort of giving something up. 08. Oh wait, 08 cut exists. Wait, I'm trolling. Oh, this cut, yeah, this cut's much better. Okay. Yeah, how did I miss this? Yeah, thank you, chat. Wait, I just didn't see this cut, like, ever. I never, like, appreciated its existence. Actually, you know what this cutting point does? This makes me think that white maybe should regret the AB exchange, because let's imagine this exchange isn't on the board. Black can't cut this way because white just kills you. So I'm actually wondering if this exchange at the time was worth it for white to play. It's not like, you know, at the time, I don't think black was in a hurry to play this exchange because it's just hurting black's position in the center. So maybe white should have actually skipped that exchange. And actually, this does change my view on the game a lot, because eventually black is going to cut 08, and that's a big threat. So yeah, chat. Thank you, chat, for keeping me accountable. This happens, I don't know, if I get lazy about checking cutting points or something. So, so white's not just trying to live, white's trying to get a little bit of activity against black's group. So, okay, so this is the pro game syndrome. We peep and we counter peep. And we counter peep. Oh, and finally we have a peep connected. First time. Is it the first time this game? Let's see how many peeps were connected this game. So we have... Okay, so we had P6 wasn't connected. Or, I mean, I guess P6 technically peeps two things at the same time, so it can't really be connected. Then we had... did we have no peeps this game? I guess we had no peeps. I guess the first peeps we had this entire game were... We had a connected peep here. Okay, fine. They connect some peeps. They just don't connect these ones. So we have 2 out of 4 peeps not connected this game. So white connects G12. Eventually we do connect this peep. And, you know, if white tries to capture everything, then black laughs in your face and just captures you, so... white sort of has to connect. And the idea is that after black also connects the peep, and white plays some move that gets the group out, like maybe this attachment or the bamboo, white's trying to run the group out while putting some pressure on these stones eventually. But that's very difficult. Like, suddenly I don't like white's position, because I was thinking that white's going to be fine if he just does this. But it's true that even though this group should live, because like I said, there's some, serious eye-making potential on the top side, this cut's going to be brutal. And I'm not going to say these stones are 100% certainly dead. But I wouldn't want to put myself in the position of trying to live with them. Let's put it that way. So let's imagine that, just for a second, that black plays some move that sort of encloses white and connects everything. And then let's say that white plays some move that makes life. Probably the best way is to exchange this move first so that we take some liberties on the outside of these 2 stones. And... then black cuts this way, and then... it is true that white has some nice aji, right? So this type of peep, or like this type of peep, lends itself to a lot of aji that you can think of using. I'm not saying black will answer so passively, though maybe black has to, but to me, this seems like interesting. Like, this doesn't seem like white's clearly gonna lose. So maybe this move, and... black legitimately has to answer pretty passively. The cutting points are annoying. So I'm even thinking something like this, and then like this. And then, is this group gonna die? Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe. So even this type of situation actually seems like it might be playable for white. If white just lives everywhere, then white's better. So black at this point kind of subtly trying to murder a lot of stones. But white seems to have believed that just living locally isn't good. So but white just died. So Ichiriki resigned here. So I don't really know. I don't know, I'm gonna call this a mistake. Just make a life. It isn't that hard. Like, let's play here. Maybe jump, actually. And, you do have this Incente, I think. And you do have this move, which is threatening 018. And you should have an either. You should. Like, you have this move Incente and then this move. This is pretty clearly an eye on the top side that you can make. You can just play here. I mean, what's the problem? I think you should be good. And, I'm not saying that the game's better for you. I'm saying that it's very hard for black to kill something. Because the top side, black could play here now. But once white has the lead in this fight and can get out this way, this group's getting really hard to kill. This group has a lot of agency, because it's like black spent an extra move on the top side. So, and if we play some sequence where black just lets white live on the top, then it's hard to kill the 2 center stones. It really is, because white has so much aji. So I'm really interested to check what the computer's opinion is here. I think white might be fine if white plays like this. I think white very spectacularly collapsed very quickly from a position where, maybe these guys have a more decided opinion of what's going to be going on, but I don't. I really don't. So, this is maybe something to consider. And Yeah, I think it's a pity. I would have liked to see how this game goes, because in this situation, White just ended up getting crushed. And, maybe Ichiriki was in Byoyomi, and, this is one thing that does put Japanese players at a disadvantage in international tournaments. Japanese title matches are kind of slow, and by kind of slow, I mean that, you know, they have 8 hours each, plus 1 minute Byoyomi. And I think that probably they suffer a little bit in fast time settings. That's my guess. So that's also something to keep in mind. So maybe Chiriki didn't handle time very well and eventually just gets in trouble. So that's... But I mean, Shin Jinseo is just a monster, so I don't know. But can I buy a review? So today I wanted to mostly do Nongshim Cup analysis, so I closed the review option. I'll be back next week, after which you will be able to buy reviews. Yeah, next week will be a normal week where you can ask for games reviews, etc. So, but yeah, welcome back, Diligent Baduk Student. Very wholesome name, for a Go related Twitch name, I suppose. So, I don't know. I'm very curious to input this into the computer, because if I put this move on the board, and White's very, very likely going to make life, or that's my opinion at least, then I get the impression that one of the two players is in huge trouble. I just don't know which one. So, yeah, and it might just be that White was in trouble all along, and then he had to resign. So, or maybe it was that White collapsed in a sharp position at the very end here. I'm not sure which. I'll be very interested to check a computer, or maybe ask some other people what they thought of this game. But yeah, fascinating game. I'm glad I checked this one out. So sometimes I tend to kind of give up on higher level, especially Korean professional games, because I feel like they're just calculating a bit too much for my tastes, and I don't really follow what's going on because I'm too lazy to calculate. I mean, I'm replaying a pro game. I don't want to calculate. And this game felt a little bit more like you see where they're going without necessarily doing that much reading. I'm happy about that. I mean, maybe there's just a lot of reading underlying it that I didn't understand, but yeah, probably, but at least I feel like there isn't. So, that makes the game pleasant to review. But yeah, that was an interesting game, I'm gonna say. And I think for the next game, I think I'll just do the next one. So he played so Shin Jinseo won this game, obviously, and next he played Kajie, and I think that was the final game in the Nongshim Cup tournament, because then he just beat Kajie and won the event for Korea. So that was pretty good. And I thought we'd just check the next game and keep going through, as I put it in the Discord server, Shin Jinseo's hieroglyphs. So but this was really not as hieroglyphic as I expected. Much more reasonable than usual. So I have to commend... Not commend, exactly. It's probably a bad sign if I understand what they're doing. So... Okay, let's see. I did not have the foresight to download this game before going on stream. But now I will, so... Let's go ahead and download it. I was like, let me download the games, and I only downloaded one of them, so... Oh, my computer's really slow while I stream. Let's hope that we make it through without everything crashing. Shin Jinseo versus Kajie. Download SGF file. Smart thinking ahead. Well, yeah, I smartly thought ahead, but I forgot one of the games. Because I wanted to show these two games, like Shin Jinseo versus Ichiriki and then versus Kajie, so... Yeah, I replayed a lot of Kojia's games when I was studying in China. I was about 13 at the time. And by about 13, I mean exactly 13 at the time. And I was, I was, being a good student, replaying pro games off of paper, game records. And, I learned to recognize the Kojia's name in characters. And I actually could see a lot of the games, so that was nice. Now I've forgotten what it looks like, but yeah. Back in 2016, I saw a lot of Kojia games. That was a while ago, I suppose. Yeah, so this is the game. Let me see if we can get... if we can get things going. Yeah, okay, this should work. So now so this stream is so professional that I'll even, for once in my life, remember to update the players. Shin Jinseo. Oh, very, very nice of Shin Jinseo to be black again, so I don't have to update it that much. Which says Gen 9P. Yeah, this looks about right. And yeah, let's see. I didn't even see this game. So the Ichiriki Shin Jinseo game I looked at very quickly before starting. Like I looked at it yesterday and zoomed through it, but I didn't really analyze it. This one I haven't looked at all. So okay. Shin Jinseo's black. Let's see what happens. So yeah, so F17 is a funny move. Like I enjoy playing it, and the reason is that it leads to so many different situations. So after white chooses to cut or not, if white has the ladder, so let's imagine for a second that these exchanges are on the board. If white has the ladder, you can even cut this way, and this transposes into another joseki where white does this. So there's a lot of different ones, and black can play here, white can play here, and then black plays here. So just interesting. I play it occasionally, but only occasionally. Yeah, and this is... I had a discussion a while ago. So some of you may have heard of Kim Young-sam, who's the highest rated player in Europe. And, he's pretty good. And after we played some game, we had a position where... Wait, okay. So I had this position as black, and I played here. And he said that in Korea, there was a consensus that it's actually better to play low. And the reason was that if you ever want to take the ice space of white's group, you play here. And like this, you can block. And now if you have the stone this way, and you block, white can actually cut and think of making some eyes later. I mean, not that white will eventually, but the point is it's a slightly weaker shape. So apparently, according to him, consensus was that you always go low. Which is why it's funny to me that, black went high. If you ask the computer, I think it'll say go low as well. I've seen computers suggesting to pincer low a lot of the time. Okay. This is interesting. So white plays here, black plays here, and black is sort of threatening to play this move. Or like that's the natural continuation. And this is like super crude. Very crude. But if white has no threats, then white can't do anything. White's sort of helpless. So this is maybe the idea. And black's basically asking white, what do you want to do about this? Like what's your solution? And white's solution is I play here. And now this looks as if white had started by pushing, which is a normal move. Which, you know, allows black to do this if black so wishes, or, you know, black can tenuki as well. And it's like you have this exchange on the board. Like this move order. 1, 2, 3. Which is very hard to understand. I probably like it for black a little bit. Because 3 doesn't make much sense. 2 also doesn't make much sense. Neither move makes much sense. So black tenukis, and let's see. Yeah, and then we start a running fight. This reminds me, recently I was reviewing a Korean pro game where white has a stone at... So white has a stone here. And black had a kind of similar position on... No, I mean, not at all similar, but an inkling of similar. Okay, it was more like this. It's a Korean pro game. I probably won't remember the exact shapes because it was like a month ago that I reviewed it, but it was... or other way around. So it was like this, 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 and then white played here, black hunted, then black pushed endlessly, like black pushed forever, and something like this, and then they did here. And I was just struck at how much black wanted to build the outside. Just lost a 1 game on time to Hanayil. Oh, it's Turnamya. Oh, they're playing the Jubango. Actually, how are they doing in their Jubango? I have no clue how. Like, I've been told that Turnamya is probably a little bit weaker than I am, but like not far. And I've been told that... I mean, I have no clue how strong Hanayol is. I guess they're pretty good. Okay, so I don't really know why I went on this tangent. The point is that black went really hard to build the left side of the board, which, you know, but not really build. Build is a very relative term because white can always play this move and sort of ruin black's hopes on the left side. You know, and after this move we can even play, you know, it's at least a reduction. And can white even play, probably not this move? Probably not. So, you know, black can maybe kind of pretend that he's keeping the left side, but white has so much aji. You know, white eventually, I think, attached here and then played some Tesuji stuff and reduced the left side anyway. But actually, the interesting thing is that black built the side of the board and then actually played this move. Played just m3. I mean, in that situation, the board was like this. And black just played m3, so... And it's like, oh, I built more than you, which was an interesting claim. Maybe black was right. Black did win, so... But this sort of reminds me that players may be kind of willing to push this type of move, which, you know, I wouldn't do, but some players are willing to. And, okay, black didn't choose to this game. Actually, I agree more with how Shin Jinseo played this game than with how the Korean pro in that game played. I like this slide more, because these pushes from behind are suspicious, in my opinion. But, I mean, it worked for that pro, so, okay. And now we have this kind of, yeah, running fight. I'm not sure I would play there as white. I think I might want Sente. But, you know, when you ask where to take Sente to, that's a different question altogether. Maybe here. I don't see a move on the top that is that big. You just jump. You know, it's not that big. So, I mean, it's okay. I'm not saying it's bad, but... Yeah, and black plays L3, which... I think L3 is bigger. C7. C7 is a mean move. Because you're preparing all kinds of, like, nasty stuff. B5 type of thing. Where you want to cut the stones in the center, or potentially you want to just make black's shape suck. So that's the type of shape thing you're aiming at. Black fixes it temporarily by cutting, and then okay, yeah, black just captures that. Yeah, that makes sense. So now you don't mind this type of shape problem in the future because, for example, if this happened, it won't happen anymore, but let's say that it did happen, you have this Atari which can always, just fix things for you, so. It's a very dynamic way for black to fix the shape. I like black so far. This is interesting because black... Who is a better player, Shin and Ka? I mean, if you ask consensus, it has to be Shin Jinseo. I think. Now, I have no clue myself because I don't watch... like I mentioned earlier, I generally speaking avoid top player games. Or I don't pay that much attention to them. Especially, people like Shin Jinseo that to me, I sometimes don't entirely understand how he plays. Or that's the impression I've gotten. So I've sort of strayed away from his games. These are the first Shin Jinseo games I've looked at in a while. So I've often stuck to players that were a little bit worse. Shin is about 100 points higher than Koji on Go ratings. I see. Well, let's say... I'll give you an example. Ichiriki, right, was, in my opinion, a very strong player already, 2 or 3 years ago, but I understood his Go much more than now. He's become a little bit more like the Shin Jinseo type of player, and I understand it less than I used to, but oh well. It's okay. White invaded, and what confuses me about this invasion, just a little bit, is that remember how we had... Earlier, I was talking about how I thought white should Tenuki on the top side, and the reason I thought white should Tenuki on the top side is that, here, 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 here. White's okay. White's okay. I mean, black has a little bit of profit on the top side, but it's not like it's clearly bigger than a move at M3. In fact, I would argue that M3 is clearly bigger than the top side. So I'm just a little bit confused at how a little bit later in the game, white just chose to allow this cut anyway, which seems contrary to how he played so far. Earlier, white took Gote to prevent this. And the only thing I can get from this is that white, the guess I can make is that white was afraid of something else that black could do in this general area. I just can't think of what. So a little bit confusing what white did here. I'm not a fan, so I'm good. I'm for the underdog, whoever that may be. But yeah, I guess root for Kejie, except Kejie lost. So, So, I mean, Kejie's attitude here is, I want to make the top side really small, or by invading here, I'm making the top side really small so that this cut doesn't matter anymore. And he's right. I'm just wondering why it didn't matter before. So, R11. Okay, so 1 and 2 in the world, so wouldn't call anyone underdog. Oh, is Kejie second in the world? In Go ratings. I didn't think he was so high up. I mean, I thought he's good, still one of the top players, but I would have expected... But anyway, I really don't follow Top Go. I do follow professional games and stuff often, but, I don't watch the very top player games so frequently. Spoiler alert, man, spoiler alert. Oh, I'm sorry, I assumed it was known. And the reason I assumed it was known is that this is the recent Nongshim Cup, which was all over Reddit, and also I said at the beginning of the stream who won the tournament, and I'm sorry, I'd mentioned it before, so yeah, I mean I can try and not spoil it in the future, yeah, but sorry. So 018, which makes sense, I suppose. You do have to play it sometime, and it's just usually you would play S13 and then play 018. This is what I do, and I actually had a game against Remy Compagnie, who's, I'm gonna say decent 6-dan from France. He lives in Canada. And we were playing an online tournament game, and I actually played 018, and the main reason I played 018 instead of 017 is that I didn't want black to have sente moves, so I wanted to pull out and fight with my stones. So I did. And then we played some crazy fight, which I thought was good for me. Okay. So I would probably have played S13 first, but Kajit didn't want to for some reason. I think it's a good exchange, but, he'll have his reasons. I mean, it is true that if you don't want to fight with the stones immediately, if you just want to leave them, then eventually you might die. You might die later, bigger, right? So, I don't care, it's more fun not knowing the outcome as an onlooker. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you're right. I should try to not talk about the result much, so. Okay. And now we Tenuki. And this board is quickly starting to look not super interesting, because all the groups are settled. Like, I mean, except for the F13 group, but that group's kind of solid. Like, it's really hard to get at. Everything's solid, everything's kind of settled, and nobody's really done anything wrong. Like, so the game's probably even, so let's see what happens. C11, the only group that wasn't settled, we settle it. And wow, so this game is also really peaceful. Like, I don't associate top player games so peacefully, usually. So I associate them with much sharper fights. So I'm kind of happy to see such, just kind of reasonable. So black pulls the stone out, kind of takes white's base, white runs the group out, black peeps to make a little bit of shape with his own group, white takes this opportunity to make shape in the center himself, black lives in the corner. It's like very natural development on the board. I like it. Jump here. Faster time so they don't want to complicate too much? Maybe. I mean, your opponent also has less time. Like, when I play Blitz, I like complicating stuff. Because I'm going to crush you because you read worse than me. Not you specifically, but I assume my opponent will. So, in tournament games these days, I'm a relatively conservative player, but in Blitz, no. So, I don't know. Faster games, I like putting my opponent under pressure. And often, in tournament games where there's only 1 hour in Europe, putting pressure on your opponent and making them think is a good thing. So, maybe they want to preserve their own time. That's also true. So, who knows? Yeah, I was wondering when this attachment would come. Like, this attachment, I was starting to think the top side's really small, so I was thinking, when is this gonna happen? And the reason is that if white just connects or something, then, this cut might be more powerful, because before, white wanted to extend. Now, white can't extend. So, white has to do this, which is, giving black this move for free. So, I was wondering if and when it would happen, because, it was an interesting move that you can start with. If you do anything else, well, black cuts this way and you're not doing so well, so. Yeah, this I like for black. Because white's shape is really weird in the center. This exchange might not be good because you're just helping white. What about... what kind of move do you play here? Maybe just Keima? Like, you want to play something that goes out. Okay. Yeah, to me, this is probably not good for white. And the reason is that black gets a really natural way to develop the game in such a way that these stones look a little bit weird, especially 013 because it's already been played. So, like, white plays 013 and then immediately it becomes a problem for him. So, I think perhaps it would have been more intelligent for white to fix the shape and, just, there's nothing big to do on the board. There's no really urgent point. Just play here and wait for development. Like, jumping here, I think it's the first move you can really call a mistake. Like, so far there's like moves I don't like, but there's no bad moves. Like, so O13 looks like a little bit of a weird move. But okay, white's like, I'll pull the group out, it's fine. You're giving profit on the right side, but it's not that much profit. So, you know, you can sort of follow the thought process. So, black's idea here is that he didn't want to let white play this move, which forces black to connect in dame. So, black jumps this way, which will eventually allow this, but this move isn't. This move is dame at the moment. So, this is the type of cut that you want to make your opponent play rather than playing it yourself. So, yeah, but this is maybe... It looks weird, but probably the timing for these questions is good for Kujia, because after Kujia gets these out of the way, then black does have this to worry about in the future. And the exchanges themselves were not bad, so... Okay, so black runs out this way. I would have expected black to run out this way. White can't really do much because of the double Atari thing. Oh, even better, black plays this way. This is the fancier way, because now we throw in... Yeah, that's cool, but anyway. White can't really do anything, so running this way looks like a little bit more intuitive. And the reason is that I don't like making this exchange. Like this shape... I mentioned again, this shape is a little bit bizarre, but... okay. It's just a tenuous connection in the center. It looks okay, it's just a little bit strange. This move I like, because it's almost the last biggest... It's the last big point left on the board. And it also eventually could put a little bit of pressure on black's group. Even though black's group is pretty strong at the moment, something I remarked in the last game I was reviewing of Shin Jinseo's versus Ichiriki was that, you know, just because a group isn't weak doesn't mean that weakening it is a bad idea, right? So if you're, you know, this is just a big move that weakens something, so, yeah. Hi, oh hello there, Jacques Grimaud. Welcome back. So in the meanwhile, black realizes, or, I mean, I'm sure he realized earlier, but I think black's acting upon that the shape in the center is a little bit tenuous, so he plays a move. And, okay, but now he claims he fixed everything in Sente. It is hard to attack this. I mean, let's just say hypothetically you cut something, because cutting stuff is fun. You know, black... Let's just do something simple for black, and even connect here. Can you really do anything to this group? Probably not. I mean, it probably has, just rough template. It has an eye here. It's gonna make another eye with, like, b10, b9. So it's not so easy. You know, it might even run with k8 later, so this... Just... It can even run, so it's kind of hard to take advantage of, so probably, you know, black doesn't want to waste a dame protecting. So we start endgame, yeah. And this is interesting, because this game somehow... Very, like, peaceful, flowing game. Like, it didn't... Nothing happened so far. And now we're in an endgame. Like, it's just an endgame. And in an endgame... I mean, also, everyone has played fine. There's been no major mistakes. So, I mean, I thought white made a couple of questionable moves. But there's been no major mistakes. So if I were playing here... This is like where I would resort to counting to try and figure out who's doing better. So, I mean, how about we do that? So, let's see. So the points I count for black are like this. This stone is probably a point. This stone is not a point. Oh, maybe it is a point. Okay, I'll give it. Black has a very small amount of points here for the moment, but it is Black's turn and Black can turn it into more, of course. There's certainly some potential. At this very moment, Black has 4 points, plus some potential. So for White, we have... So it's something like this. White doesn't really have an assured point at b8. And, you know, arguably White has a point here. Yeah, I guess you have a point here. So, how is this? So White has about 36 points with Komi. Actually, what Komi are they playing this on? 6.5, okay. Oh, yeah, thanks, Jacques. And Black has... So, Black is about Komi down in solid points, but it is Black's turn, and you know, if Black plays such a move, right, which Black isn't going to play because it's not big enough, this potential suddenly becomes the difference in Komi. And it is Black's turn, so... Oh, and probably I'm being a little bit unfair not giving Black 2 points here, because he does have 2 points here. So Black is... You know, I count like 31 points for Black and 36 points for White. It is Black's turn. Black has more potential. Such a move will make a lot of points for Black that I'm not counting. So Black has slightly better endgame as well. I guess Black's better. If I were playing such a game, I'd kind of calculate my like winning chances as a function of who I'm playing. So if I'm playing someone who's not very good at endgame, I think I'll manage. If I'm playing someone that's my level at endgame or better, then I'll maybe be a little bit unhappy. It's also the type of game where it's kind of hard to really do anything fun. Like, the board's kind of settled. It's just going to be an endgame, so... Oh, this is interesting. So, White really didn't want Black to do this and get all of this endgame in Sente. And remember how, you know, and then you're even going to get this in Sente. And then remember how we were talking about how this is 4 solid points. Suddenly, it's going to be a lot more than 4 solid points. So, you know, I mean, the triangles on the top are not really solid points yet, but they can be very easily. So, you know, Black, this is big, and White's like, no, I want the double Sente Hane. Except it's not double Sente, so let's see. And just when I thought the game couldn't be complicated, Black cuts through, and this move only makes sense if you're threatening to attack both of the groups you're cutting. So let's believe Shin Jinseo here. Wow. Wait. Isn't White dead on the lower side? I guess it depends on how Sente this move is. Like, if it's Sente to do anything to Black, except it isn't. So, White's just dead on the lower side, I believe. So White's gonna try to kill... I was like... This game became insane. Oh no. Oh no. So basically, White was like, I play here, I'm losing, because I'm gonna give all the Sente, right? All the Sente. And probably White didn't want that, because he's just slightly behind, so White went insane. So... But it's interesting. White made a couple of small mistakes so far, and then Black's just better, so... So we went insane. And then, okay. I think the evaluation went to 50-50 on the broadcast here. Kateko had no clue for a while. Okay. What was the evaluation before Kujie went insane? Black should be better, right? So this is actually a really interesting resource from Kujie. It's interesting because if you play something like this move, you're gonna give black like lots and lots and lots of center moves. I mean, if you push up, this is just a whole other fight where I think white may be in trouble. 75 75 to 80 for black. Okay. So if I had to guess, black would be better here, but... So black's looking to get this kind of center move to make life with. So it's interesting. I really... If I had to guess, I would say that white's toast here. And the reason white's toast is that black will live. Like, I don't believe that this group should die, and it basically has to die in order that white's sacrifice on the lower side makes sense. So, it's... I'm actually surprised the computer evaluation is 50-50, because also computers are usually pretty proficient at living. They're like, yeah, I live here, it's fine, no problem. So this feels like the kind of situation that the computer would like for black, but okay. It's interesting that it has no clue. Wait, what? Okay. So we're trading here. We're actually compromising. Does AI not know if it can live? Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that this is hardly the type of game where it ends up being close. This is the game where you die or you don't die. So this is maybe why percentages are not always indicative of what's happening. I've seen games where the percentage is like maybe 70% for one of the players, but the point lead is really, really high because it's like you die or you don't die. So the AI is like 70% sure. I mean, 70% for an AI doesn't mean 70% for a human. But for... Yeah, so 50-50 doesn't mean that the game's close, it means it doesn't know. So, yeah. So, black is trying to trade here. So if black only dies in the center and snags the left side, then the lower side was too big. So white kind of has to fight a little bit here. Oh, and in the end, white keeps some of the left side, but black gets to keep quite a bit. And if I had to guess, there's not really a way to stop this for white. I mean, if you just play here, some kind of natural move, then black's gonna live very shortly. So... I mean, I need to figure out how exactly, but it should live shortly. It's not that easy. Goes hard. Like, I don't immediately see a way to live, even this group. I mean, it has to live. Like, it... You know, if I had to guess its probability of living, it's like 90%, but... Actually doing the deed is not so, not so clear. You can make an eye here. After which, if white is really, really, really severe, it's not immediately obvious how you make an eye. It's kind of obvious. Okay, I guess. But if Karago got confused, it will be hard. I guess. So, I mean, if white plays... This is the strongest move white can play, I think. And after this... goes hard. I mean, it has to live. That black can't make an eye here is ridiculous, but just have to find how. Maybe a move, such an obvious move as this one, and after white connects, you play here. Maybe to look after this, but can't white live with h2? H2, d2, e2, C1, J3, J1, H1, L1. I'm confused. Oh, you wanna, wait. You wanna play D1. What? There's not really something fun. White's just dying. I mean, black can just play here. And then connect. I don't see the problem. White's kind of dead. As far as I can tell, there's like nothing. But I mean, if you play here to pretend to cut something, black plays this move and connects everything. So I don't really see what's going on. No, but that makes P2 work. Oh, so yeah, okay. So there might be a little bit of endgame. Yeah, that I could believe. I mean, I haven't read it yet, but it should make P2 work. So maybe something like this. You know, in such a situation, black should be a bit scared. Before H1. Yeah, before H1's better. Like, you shouldn't exchange H1. So now we cut, and then black might be able to fix. So I guess we should cut this way first. And then M1 might work, yeah. M1 looks like it might work. I guess it does work, yeah. It does work. It's a cool move, but it works, yeah. So I was even thinking of going a little bit more aggressive, so trying to find something like this, and then here. And this might work too. I think this could work as well. So I don't know, like, and this one's much more dangerous for black as well. But if you have nothing else, then M1 works. So I completely thought white had two more spaces for like a Seki shape there. I see. Yeah, I was like replaying the sequence and I was like, wait, what? I was like confused, you know? But okay. It happens. It happens to everyone. Okay. So black should probably be able to live. So let's give it to black. I think black probably should be able to get some kind of compensation for the group. And now we need to count points. So black plays some move. Okay. So black has to connect in the center. Now white plays the famed P1, after which black doesn't connect because black can't. And now we should count. So let's see how this turned out. If I had to guess, the center capture was much less solid than the lower side capture, because black got the left side, which erased B17 endgame, and black's even gonna get to play B10 later. So if I had to guess just based off of endgame, this is kind of good for black. But yeah, let's count, I suppose. So let's give white has about 62 points with Komi. That's my estimation. Assuming that white A will be answered with B, which it might not be. So this isn't even close, right? Like white's toast. That's my evaluation. I mean, okay. So I count that black has. I mean, I counted like nearly 80 just a second ago, but I'm checking. Yeah, like 78, and white has. Yeah, white has like 63, 64 points. This game's over. Yeah, this game's over. Black even has more potential. Like black's if anyone's gonna make extra points, it's like black around this area. So white's toast. White got a little bit of endgame. I missed this. I missed that black's gonna have to come back to play d2, so that all this stuff is white's sente. So that did lead to me probably miscounting the position a little bit, but yeah, white resigned here. So yeah, white's toast. So I'm guessing that black's ahead at least by Komi. At least. Probably by more. So yeah, this was a very interesting attempt by white. So I think white's main mistake in the middle game was this move, which led to just a really weird direction of play where, you know, here, white's 3 stones are just weird. Like, you had to give up points on the right side. And you know, this isn't terrible for white, it's just subtly bad. But subtly bad is enough to be subtly behind, right? And maybe white's... The only other move I thought was a little bit weird on white's side was... oh yeah, K17 was weird for me. And probably those were the moves that I thought weren't very good. And black just quietly was ahead, like decently ahead, like not bad. Shin Jinseo's just not playing enough mistakes this tournament, wow. I see. I mean... But I like these games from Shin Jinseo. I'm actually impressed, because, you know, maybe in the environment of Korean games, Shin Jinseo is a little bit more violent, because I saw a couple of Shin Jinseo's games and I really didn't like the level of complexity in them at times. Or, like, that the play is really, like, aggressive or assertive. And I haven't checked his games that much in the recent past, but it's impressive, but I personally find... I mean, of course, the guy's a beast, right? But I find it hard to learn from that. Like, it's just beyond how I understand Go. So when I play... You know, I've always stuck to professionals that I think I can understand. And sadly, when they get better, I stop understanding them. So, you know, I mentioned a couple of times already this stream that my appreciation for Ichiriki went down with his level, so like as his level went up. So, but these games I like, or especially this one. So the game against Ichiriki was still... It wasn't that complicated. It wasn't like I couldn't follow the thought process at all. But it was, you know, it was... You could understand it. I even at times I disagreed with what Shin Jinseo did, or I thought it was being over-aggressive and it's not really going to work out. But, I mean, Ichiriki did resign and did get into huge trouble and die with something, which I think shouldn't have happened. Like, I thought that if white just lives, then white was okay. And white could live. White kind of chose not to. So, I think it's possible that... Yeah, these games were much nicer than I expected them to be. I think Wang had a good game, but he blundered too. Okay. Wait, which Wang? I wasn't following the tournament until the last couple of rounds, so... I think I'll recognize when you mention the other name, like the, like 2 games before this one. Yeah, I wasn't following. I only followed the end of the tournament. I didn't even watch these games. I watched them now. Or like right before going on stream. So I'm a little bit uninformed. So yeah. But actually I can look up in the database the game. That sounds interesting. Let's see. Okay, once my browser loads, I'll be able to look up the game. But yeah, I might check more of Shin Jinseo's games. They're kind of nice, especially this one. I mean, this one just smooth. Like, he just played better. He just played perfect, or not perfect, but he played really well. And then Kejia was behind, and then Kejia went crazy, and Kejia fell further behind. So, I mean, it's a really interesting attempt to go crazy. It's the type of attempt that, you know, I'm very sure shouldn't work. Very sure. But you tried, you know? You tried. And you got very close. So, like, it was very, you know... I think players not much weaker than Shin Jinseo would not have managed. So, that's pretty good. Okay. So those are the 2 games I wanted to watch for today. I would like to keep the stream going for a little bit, so I might go ahead and think of some other pro games to watch. Alternately, I may just go for some pro games. Maybe like relax and watch like a pro game I've already watched, and I can talk to you about it a little bit. So which one of the recent pro games can we watch? I have a few of them on my mind. Let's do this one, because it features a really cool sacrifice. Wait, let me find it. I have to find it on my computer. Like, I didn't intend to show this game, but, you know, I thought that these 2 games would basically take up the whole stream. But they didn't, so let's see. I have a bunch of other games I'm thinking about, so... I just have to find the game on my computer, or download it, I guess. Wait, I can't find it. Okay, I'll find a different one then. Fine. Let's do... I guess we could do... Oh, I know which one to do. I mean, I have to download it. I have to find it on Go4Go and download it, but I checked it recently and it was really fun. So let's see. This is an old Japanese player game. Like, you won't know it, probably, the game. You might know the player, but yeah. Recently, I really got into this player's games from someone recommended him to me, and I really, really like the playstyle. So where are you? Hide the names for the fun. Oh, I see. Takagawa Kaku, no. Yeah, we can hide the names for the fun. Okay, I found you? Okay, I found you. Now I need to find... So, all I'll mention is that these players are like Japanese players from relatively long ago. So sometime in the past century. And the the somewhat initiated to Japanese professional play should know them. Yeah, I think it was... I'm trying to... I think I remember which year the game was played in as well. And I think it's this one. Yeah, it was this one. Yeah. It's a short game also. And it's really, really cool. Like, this game is really, really cool. Wait, what do you mean this game record isn't accessible? Fine, I'll remember it. Fine. I mean, also, I have it... I mean, I have the game record kind of... Like, I kind of remember the game. Kind of. How well do I remember the game? I'm not sure. But I have the game record here if I need it, so I can pretend I remember it. I just can't download it, unfortunately. But let's... can the stream see the game? No, they cannot. So let's see. Let's see. Okay, you should be able to see an empty board. And I need to remember... So... I think it went like this. And this, and this. Oh, and this is really funny because it's back in the 80s. So I remarked on this move order because it's just funny to me. White approached. And black didn't cut. Now, if you ask a computer, it says that black should cut, and it says white shouldn't play R14. And it's actually quite a big difference. It really doesn't like this move order from the players. But, you know, it's but you know. I have the game here for reference. I don't think I can remember it because I looked at it a while ago. Let's just follow it. But yeah, I just remembered this funny move order where white exchanged this move. And, you know, back in the day, maybe some of you just won't know this too well because it isn't common anymore, but this used to be a joseki. And I actually played this a lot as white because I liked tenukiing. And yeah, but these days the cutting point is considered a little bit too important. Another reason is that, generally speaking, p3 is considered a very strong follow-up for white, so black doesn't want to take black doesn't want to take gote. So double approach of 4-4 was kind of overvalued before AI. Also, yes, people kind of thought it was centish. So yeah. And then here, this move surprised me because I thought at this time, when this game was played, this was supposed to be bad, but black kicked. And I guess that the theory at the time was that you shouldn't kick if white's gonna play here anyway, but you should kick if you have the opportunity to pincer next, which black did. So I guess that this sort of makes sense. So black kicked. And, you know, these days, what people think is that even if white plays here, well, it's fine, you still have this kind of aji later, and you're going to be able to live on the side of the board, and you're not necessarily... This exchange is kind of... You're actually strengthening your corner somewhat, and it's not clear how much black's shape is helping. So this kind of kick shape has also been sort of reinvented after AI came on. But at the time, it was like, I believe it was only... You could only kick if you can pincer next. So, okay, we played here, and then... Wait, which black? Did black... I think black Kosumi'd. Because white eventually got to play here. Yeah. But... Oh, wait. I checked the move order and it's really funny. Okay, it's really funny. So, it's... White played this move, which is a normal move, I guess. You have to get the group out somehow. And black plays p13, which is probably threatening some cut stuff. And just making shape. I think otherwise it's a little bit too easy for white to... It's a little bit too easy for white to shoulder hit later and just make shape with everything without having a cutting point. Like, usually these days people don't time their shoulder hit because now black gets to cut through and this is uncomfortable for white. So that's why I think even then it was valued to get a move there first before you want a shoulder hit or something like that. Though maybe back then they didn't shoulder hit. Don't kick if opponent will get 3 space extension. Yeah, that's what they used to say. And yeah, so black played here, white now fixes, and black plays L13. And L13, I mean, I'm not sure what to think about this move because it looks kind of gote. And, you know, if white just tenukis or something, I'm sure the AI will be screaming to play d5 because it always doesn't want to let black, you know, press you down. I was a little bit surprised that black spends a move, and I was a little bit surprised that white answered. And, yeah, like white here, I don't really know what white was trying to do with this exchange. Like, even if black just answers passively, are you just trying to get an exchange in and then take sente? Maybe. But it's a strange exchange to want. So I'm not really sure where white was going with this. However, I think black didn't answer normally. How did black answer again? Oh, yeah. Black took the bait, cut, and then got good shape in the center. But I believe that in exchange, white got to pull out his stones this way. So it was a really weird trade, I guess. But... Oh, black Haned. Wait, yeah. Okay, black Haned, which is very similar. So the idea is that... Say that white Haned, black's gonna cut. So... Now, you know, white doesn't have much. I mean, white has this. But this is endgame. So... White asks this question first. If now black... you know, Hanes, then white plays here, black here. Black can't play here anymore to answer white's push because white already has the stone. And if black answers this way, then black's shape isn't going to be able to hold. If you try to block it, then white's just going to start killing. Is black Omeyan? No. I'm going to say... Okay, I'll give a little bit of a hint. I really like white's playing style. The way I came across this game was that maybe like a week or two ago, I was looking at a lot of games from white. And I really liked his play style. I think it's a little bit idiosyncratic, maybe. But it's very much focused, in my opinion, on making the right shape. So I really liked that this player didn't have a decided tendency towards influence or territory. It just make the right shape and see what happens. Other guesses, Chochikun, no. Now, when you guess Chochikun, I think the player, the black player plays a little bit similar to Chochikun. Not really, but a little bit. So, you know, you're somewhat there. But I haven't checked that many games of blacks, so I wouldn't be able to tell. I'm going off of the stereotype I have of the person, not the actual, how much I've seen of the games. I've only seen black's games against white, so, you know. So, okay, in the game, black Haned, white gets out, and black fixes, white fixes. And black also fixes, which I wasn't sure about. Like, I would actually be severely tempted to Tenuki. And, you know, white can play here or something and turn these 3 stones into nothing, but who cares? It's small, relatively small. So, I wasn't convinced by black's decision to take Gote here, actually. Incidentally, I should perhaps consider edit stream info and saying, instead of Nongshim Cup, it's like, wait. 20th century pro game analysis. I guess the pro game should be a returning thing on this stream. It's fun. Oh, I'm glad you liked it. I mean, the thing is, I really don't stream much these days. Like, I don't have time to do more than once per week. And so I kind of have to prioritize what I do. Like, I'd like to do all the stuff I do, I just don't have time for it, so it's very difficult for me to balance all the priorities. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. I don't know, I might do more commentaries in the future. Do you mind Jeff posting the Google Docs to Corona Masters League on Miko's Twitch chat? No, I don't. By the way, Victor, often when we play Corona League games, I actually advertise the document myself. I just hope that people don't like butcher it by editing. So, okay. So let's get back to the game. Now that I've actually, yeah, you said doo-doo, yeah. But now that I've said doo-doo and done stuff, like to the overlay and the title, let's get back to the game. So, you know, Black decided to add another move, which I don't really agree with. And this is, you know, up until now, and I checked it with the computer just to be sure, there are some moves I don't agree with, but I thought that this game could be played in modern times. Like, there's a lot of, like, aside from the timing of 017 and the fact that they left this cut open for a second, they, you know, aside from that small detail, this game looks pretty modern. And this next move is the first move that made me think, nah, you can't do this. Like, no, you can't do this now. White played here. Yeah, this move's pretty funny by modern standards. Like, you just don't lose a tempo to play here. Like, especially when you have this move open on the board. Like, even this day, like, in these days, you wouldn't be so protective of the corner. Yeah, whoa. Yeah, exactly. Like, this move is antithetical to modern theory. Because what you would be thinking is that this move is inefficient. Like, this move is, like, weird. And this move is, like, is white Ishida Yoshio? No. So, that's actually a decent guess. It's a good guess based on this game, but no. Can we ask what Komi is here? It's 5.5. I mean, Komi only became 6.5, I think, around 1990. So, yeah. This game was played, I'm gonna say, like, between 1940 and 1980. Like, 80-something. So, this is the era we're talking about. And, yeah, so, you know, I think in modern times, you would basically want stone efficiency, and you would play c14. Or, if you're a slave to the AI's opinion, you would play d5. Now, I wouldn't think that the lower side is very important because, I mean, this side is very hard to develop for Black. So, I mean, I might consider d5, but, like, it's not necessary. And the local move would be c14. Now, the reason White didn't play c14 is that leaves the corner open, and it can technically be exploited. Oh, hello there, Rory Dix. Yeah, that according to my reading, it's something to spam if you wanna roast my, if you wanna use my channel points, like my channel point rewards to roast my reading. That's all chill. I'll give you lots and lots of opportunities. So, okay, this would be the usual move, and the message of c16 is like, I want the corner. You know, I really want the corner, and just don't do this. The shapes... Iron pillars aren't efficient. Like, think about it this way. Usually, White would want to have a stone here. This is a complete formation. But this stone is so much less efficient because Black has this invasion point left. So when you think about it this way, that's just not an efficient shape. What is an efficient shape is if you play this move, which is actually like an existing move that you can play. And, you know, if I were White, I would sooner play this move than White's move in the game. Just, stones aren't efficient. And the fact that you technically keep the corner doesn't really matter, because Like, let's say that black is able to make a ko in here, or is able to attach here and make some kind of life, which, you know, maybe white can. White always gets compensation on the outside for your... Like, if your opponent lives in a small corner, your influence on the outside should be relatively worth it. So, keeping efficiency between your stones in good shape is just, by modern theory, better than c16. Now, the player that played c16 is much better than I am, right now. Probably much better than I ever will be in my life. But anyway, he's definitely much better than I am now, and he still chose to play c16. So make of it what you will. Black played d5, which is very modern. One last guess, and I have to go. White is Fujisawa Shuko, and black is Hashimoto Utaro. White is Fujisawa Shuko. Yes. Fujisawa Shuko. I've been looking at a lot of his games. I like him a lot. I really like his games. And this game is insane. Like, this is a beautiful, beautiful game. So, yeah, PogChamp, yeah. So... C16 tipped me off. Is this like a pet move of his, or what? I've watched like up to 15 of his games, and I still haven't seen C16 in any other contexts. So, wow. You're pretty learned, Battle Porridge. Yeah. So we got one of the players. The other player will remain a mystery, I suppose. I haven't seen this exact move by him, but he was known to be super thick. Well, actually, super thick is maybe, Fujisawa Shuko was considered a Moyo player. But, like, a lot of people, I've heard him referred to as an influence-oriented player, and I actually disagree with that from my sample size. So, I would say he emphasizes good shape, which doesn't mean influence. Those are two different things. Like, he's not taking the outside, he's just making sure that his stones are efficient. C16 is a move that's antithetical to everything I just said, but probably the understanding of shape was a bit different at the time. So, at the time, this was considered good shape. So, I see him as someone who valued stone efficiency quite highly. More than most people would. And it's not really about territory influence, it's just, do my stones work together? And that's something I find quite inspiring. Okay. Let's keep going. So, he also sort of played the Kaminoite, really? That I don't know about. I'd have to go. Thanks for streaming. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, Battle Porridge. See you around. So, we played this, which is the old Joseki, right? Before white used to play this way, because we used to think that if we jump this way, black gets a little bit too much sente, so... And black played e9, which at the time thought I was a little bit weird. Yeah, Kisei 78, the famous 2-hour 58 move that just wins. 2-hour 58. Wait, I have to check. I haven't checked the Kisei title from 78. I've checked some of the other Kisei title matches, but not the 78 one. So I'll have to look at that. Yeah. So, black played here, which, in retrospect, is a good move because it limits the left side. It builds some sort of congruence between all of black's stones. Makes sense. I think at this point, I'll have to check, but I think white played k4. Wait. Because white has to limit that side's potential. Oh, not k4. I got close. It's j4. Okay. And black took the base. White was like, I wanna live with my stones. And yeah, this... I think very soon black played a little bit strange. I didn't expect that, but yeah. So, oh yeah, okay, so black played some sente moves. And then black played this, which surprised me, yeah. I'm just checking, yeah. This move surprised me, k7. And, the reason it surprises me is that it's sort of helping white to connect. Like, now it's very, like, natural for white to just
shoulder hit here, play here, and then just link up all his stones and be fine. So for me, the instinct is actually to play something like m5 and just keep these 2 stones under pressure. And of course, it is very hard to keep these stones under pressure because they're very solid 2 stones. The group will certainly live, right? I'm not going for a kill or anything like that. But it seems to me that keeping pressure, using the Moyo for pressure, would be a little bit more accurate than playing from the top. So I don't agree with this move. Now, what Black is saying is that he wants to eventually make a little bit of extra income with the center. 1978 against Kato Masao, I see. Actually, I've checked a couple of games of Shuko versus Kato Masao, and Kato Masao has a great record against him. Like, Kato Masao won a lot of games against Fujisawa Shuko. Interestingly. But I guess Kisei 78 was Fujisawa Shuko's, so, you know. I mean, Kisei in general was Fujisawa Shuko's, so, okay. And then White played, to my surprise, White actually jumped here. White refused to just connect solidly. I expected White to just play N4, after which I don't see a way to cut White's stones, and White's just very, very nice, so. This jump surprised me, but it's not a bad idea. And then after this is this. Oh, White's next move really surprised me again. Like, this one I just don't agree with. Like, I really appreciate Fujisawa Shuko's play. I want to make that very clear. Like, I like this player a lot. But to me, the shape moves looks like, you know, maybe not here, but probably, given that Black can't really cut us in the center, we can probably just jump. And eventually link up either with P8 or maybe jump out with K9. And the group is just getting too big to fail, if you know what I mean. Like, this type of group is very hard to kill, eventually. So that would be my logic. Now, what he did was like, I'm annoyed by L6 peep, let's play this Nobi. And like, I see this Nobi and I'm like, no, this is such a terrible exchange. And your shape still is terrible. Like, your shape is still not really efficient, you know? Like, your shape is really not efficient still, because Black can, you know, play this type of thing and force you to connect. Like, it's very inconvenient. So, in general, when I think about everything that White did here, I think it would have been better to just connect out with 05. This is my only disagreement with him all game. Like, and also, this can be maybe excused by that maybe he was worried about something like this cutting point. And there's some reading that I didn't do. What Black did was fine, I just wouldn't... what White did was fine, I just wouldn't have done it. And the rest of the game is really nice from White, so but White, in the end, just made the slightly questionable shape and just connects out. It is the cleanest way to just connect out. And then Black invaded, which is sort of the natural way to punish C16. White jumped out, trying to lean on the stones to put a little bit of pressure on F17. I think if you play here, the problem will probably be that Black can live inside. Probably. It's not that easy. I mean, if I read some kind of sequence such as this one, where White's trying to kill you, but you're also trying to kill White, I think that Black might be in trouble, so, you know. Oh, hello there, ClassPat. Doing good, doing good. So far we're checking so we checked some Nongshim Cup games earlier, and now we are checking some old pro games that I like, and the players are a mystery. Well, one of the players was guessed correctly by someone in the audience, so they know, but if you're new here, then, you know, maybe you won't know who the players are. It's a pro game from a while ago. And yeah. But yeah, welcome to the stream, ClassPa. So I'm not quite sure what's wrong with capping at F16. It is very, very questionable in terms of shape, of course. Like, Black having the strong stones here does make it very suspicious. Like, are you fine in this fight? Is this playable? Thanks, I'm rather new. Oh. Nice. Well, welcome all the same. Maybe the type of sequence we're looking for is just here, and then just here, and then you profess that white is dead and that you win the race, and that because black has a stone here, white's position is very low on the left side, the wall will not be very, like, helpful for white. So, you know, this was maybe the thought process of white when he attached at h15. And black doesn't want to just give white initiative for free on the top side, so black jumps, which makes sense. And so white pulls out as well. And the reason we pull out like this instead of just pulling out directly is I think white was a little bit worried about this, maybe. But this shouldn't be good, so I'm probably... The reason this shouldn't be good is that after white plays quite simply g15, black's center cut isn't spectacular, whereas white's shape on the top side is really efficient. So I think white could have skipped this exchange very happily, but I don't know, it doesn't matter if you do it, so... oh, hello there, Solomon's Crown. So white pushes out, and black jumps at k18, which is kind of sent there, like, this looks good, but after black connects on the second line, it doesn't look good anymore. So white defends, black pulls out, and this is the really interesting moment in the game, basically. So if I were black, at this very moment, I would be a little bit scared. So if I play here and white plays here, my two stones, like, I've left them alone for a very long time, you know? So if here after white plays j16, I had maybe connected, let white pull out, and then made this exchange and then jumped, then my shape is a little bit less efficient in the center. It's like this, but, you know, black played this push exchange, which is kind of hurtful and not hunted. But this would be fine. But in the game, what black did was, I go for maximum efficiency, I play k18 and sente, and then I don't want to allow this hane, which is, like, really detrimental to my shape, or, like, any cutting points here. I don't want to allow that stuff. I extend here. If I were black, I would be a little bit concerned about f13, because it looks like my stones might be in some trouble. And, you know, maybe white's, you know, very slow c16 might actually become a useful move soon. And keep in mind, so this is an old Japanese game with very slow time settings. So these people are reading a lot. And what you'll see here is kind of like black trying to live and white trying to kill. So white peeps, black actually connects sort of in sente. And, you know, because this move is de facto sente. And then black has to try and, you know, black sort of has to try to run this way and try to make eyes. And, you know, white's thick, but, you know, it's not like white's super strong on the outside. If we consider that black is one move from preventing white from connecting on the top side, like, white would be able to connect with such a move. You know, because we either connect or we're black to struggle, we can just connect here and kill or do this. So, but white's one move from being cut with his own group, so it's not like this is easy. And black exchanges this, which is a good asking move, plays f13, which is a very, like, nasty move because, you know, you're preparing your own cutting ideas, right? That's the whole point. So white pulls back, and black jumps, dum dum dum, and then remember white's own corner is becoming, like, getting in a little bit of trouble, and then we play b15. And it's just the interesting thing about this is that, as far as I can tell, black was completely toast already by this point. So this thing where they must have been reading this sequence, like, black is getting in huge trouble here. Very slowly but surely, the net around black's group is really, really, really putting him in danger. And what I like about this game is that they probably read this a long time ago, and white was like, no, I murder you here. Which is
such a this White in general, and I watched a few of his games. Like I said, he has a great appreciation in general for the right shape, but the level of calculation in some of his games is insane. And the thing is, I still haven't figured out a way for Black to really deal with this situation. But another reason I like this game is that if you put this into an AI, the AI doesn't know what's going on. The AI thinks Black is fine. The AI thinks Black is fine until it thinks about it, and then it doesn't think Black is fine. So here we have a professional from the older, kind of from the olden days-ish. Not that old, but somewhat olden days. Just completely outreading a computer's expectation. So when I check this with the computer later, the computer thinks Black is fine. It thinks Black is better. Slightly better. And then it stops thinking Black is better very soon. So, and it doesn't really know what to do either. It's not like Black messed up. Black played fine. So, Black here, I mean, obviously it's going to be close. It's very hard to tell who's better. But after White, White peeped, Black first to exchange here, which doesn't matter. And, if Black just connects, then I guess White needs to invest the time to live in the corner. How do you actually live in the corner? Precisely. I guess the right move is here. So the idea is that you're not alive because Black can play this move in Sente and then here, and then you're dead. So you're dead because if, White plays here, you can just... This is a dead shape. The problem is that White has a big eye, and Black has no eyes. So Black's going to lose this Liberty race by 10 Liberties. So White isn't alive, but White's alive enough if Black dies. So White can probably play here, and then Black's in trouble. So, okay, Black cuts through instead. Oh, no, it doesn't cut through. I mean, cutting through shouldn't be possible. White just plays here. So, exchanges and plays here. And indeed, White plays a15. And then Black, this does look like Black might be able to live. Because after we capture here and here and here, if White tries to go down, then remember how White is also not alive. And White's facing into Black's general Moyo area. So this is really complicated and really hard to calculate, but okay. White played here. And Black goes out, and then this White group is not clearly doing well. I mean, I think White's okay, but White can just jump here, for example, and fix the cutting point, and then Black can technically try to kill, but killing this group is really hard. And even harder is killing it with sufficient liberties. And, while Black can kill on the top left, like I said, it's big eye versus small eye. And the groups have a lot of shared liberties, right? The rule is that if you have a semidori, a semi-eye, a liberty race between a group with an eye and not an eye, the liberties shared by the groups belong to the group with the eye. Same thing goes for a normal eye versus a big eye. So the big eye has the shared liberty. So White's winning this liberty race easily. So as long as White gains enough liberties on the outside, Black's in huge trouble. And I just find it impressive how White probably calculated this a long time ago. White had a very good idea of what was going on a long time ago and just decided, oh, I have a big eye on the top left. I can withstand this cut. I can, now I'll be fine. And here, White played e10. Which is, e10's a really weird move. The reasoning behind e10 is just, e10's a funny move. And actually, Black resigned after this, so it's a funny end to the game. The reason is that White wants Sente. So White's you play here and here. Now I connect on the second line. And now it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if we play a Liberty race. So this is just a funny end move, And, if you play f11,
then black technically can play here, and you technically have to survive. I mean, the computer, now I check the computer, and at this point, it knows that white's winning, you know? At this point, it knows that white's winning. Because white will just get enough liberties. But this is just a funny finishing move. So if black simply connects, then we also connect. I just discussed earlier why this connection just works for white. No ko, no nothing. I mean, you can probably also start by cutting here or something. Lots of moves work. Probably this wedge. So basically, it's like you connect, and then this type of cut doesn't work for black anymore because I just net you, you know? Like, so it's like, and if you Atari, you can get all the fun you like. You can ruin my shape and get these Ataris. I'm just gonna connect here, and next move you'll resign because you died on the top right, on the top left, you know? So this is just a spectacular way to finish a game. And this game, this game, you know, white was already guessed by Battle Porridge, who knows his professionals, and he's like, this was Fujisawa Shuko, who was a Japanese pro roughly from the, I'm gonna say the 50s, the early 50s to the mid 90s. He was a pretty good professional, and he peaked probably around the 70s. And even while he was becoming an older player in the 80s, he held the Kisei title, which is one of the more prestigious ones in Japan, for 5 straight years. And this is actually one of the title matches. So this is game 4 of the 1980 title match versus Rin Kaiho. And some of you might know Rin Kaiho because he's pretty well known. And it's interesting that Rin Kaiho was, you know, pretty strong at this point. And you know, Fujisawa Shuko just smote him aside this game. And what I really enjoy about this game is that at this point, like, the calculation and or understanding exhibited here by white is better than the computers. Like, black did every single move black plays here is the computer move. Every single one. Or my computer thought every move black played was fine. Maybe not the top move, but every move, like, no percentage drop. Every move is like, the computer thinks it's okay. It thinks black is fine, it thinks black is fine. And as you progress and it thinks black is better. And as you progress in the fight, playing all of black's favorite moves, like all of the favorite computer moves for black, or if you leave it to think a really long time, it starts to realize how completely terrible black's position is. So somehow white's intuition here was better than a computer's. Or white's reading, because this is a title match for the Kisei title, which is like, you have 8 hours to think each. Maybe white's reading was just extremely thorough, you know? And very solid, and the computer just takes a very, very, very long time to realize. And that's just great. I think it can struggle with big liberty races. Yeah, I mean, I guess Karago and Lila both can struggle with big liberty races, but that's just impressive. Like, the degree of understanding that went into, like, yeah, I win the big eye race, and it's fine, I'm gonna be able to, you know, just from this point, the way that white played this fight was just so nice, in my opinion. I just really enjoyed it. And, you know, this isn't necessarily my favorite game from Fujisawa Shuko, but it's one I really enjoyed. Because it's just, you're playing one of the top players of your era, and you just destroy him. Like, you just wipe him off the face of the board in 104 moves, you know? So that was pretty nice. Yeah. I think Rin Kaiho did win game 3. Yeah, so Shuko won in 5 games. 4-1. But yeah, that was, and you know, I saw some of the other games from the title match, which were interesting. And some of its other games. I was on holiday last week, so I had lots of time to check pro games. That was nice. But yeah, that was just a fun game that we can finish with. Fujisawa Shuko is a very idiosyncratic player, like I mentioned at the beginning. Plays a lot of, I don't know, I like the style. Usually quite shape focused, and it's curious how deep some of these how deep some of the reading goes in his games. Like, the calculation is surprisingly solid, even though he was an older player at this point. So, okay, so I think that may be all for this stream. Why not? Because I did want to end around 7:30 and not time to start another game, I suppose. So yeah, I don't know. That's a good one to end on. Dilum, thank you for following. Last minute follow. So thank you to everyone who watched. I'll be back next week on Friday, as I am every week. So unfortunately, I have a little bit less time to stream every week. So yeah. Oh, many thanks was a nice game. Oh, if you guys want to see it, wait. Let me 1 second. Let me send it to you. Like I'll stick it in the chat if you people are interested in checking it out. You can download it if you make an account, or you can just watch it, you know, if you wanna like watch it. So, and for the other 2 games that we looked at first, those games you can find by just going to the most recent games on Go4Go, because the Nongshim Cup happened very recently, and I looked at the last 2 games. So yeah, we learned a bit about Shin Jinseo, and I showed you one of my favorite pros. Good stream. So yeah, thank you to everyone who watched, and let's find someone to raid and just conclude for today. Wait, let's raid Miko. Miko is still on, right? Is Miko still on? Miko is online, right? Wait, let me check. They're still live, I think. Before I raid someone, I need to check if they're like on. Yeah, okay, they're on. Yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you around.